Stop that. Stop that. Stop that. I hear him chatting the noise. Move too quick, can't stop for the talking. I hear him chat with the walking. Just too sharp with the prize. White girls let it tell me I'm awesome. Yeah, hot like fire on the pan. If you wanna touch my please use caution. Cold like 0 degrees. I'm out the cage, gotta let out the beast. Revolutionary, gotta let out the streets. Locked in a cage, I'ma let out the sheets. You came for one man, forget my peace. You take the west side, take on the east. I'ma put him in the cage, never let out the. I hear him chat to the noise. Move too quick, can't stop for the talking. I hear him chat with the boys. Man so tough, but mans keep walking. Yeah, just too sharp with the prize. White girls, let it tell me I'm awesome. Yeah, hot like fire on the pan. If you wanna touch my please use caution. Stop that. Stop that. Stop that.
Just desperately throws it up in the air, incomplete.
Bills fans tonight, their hopes crushed yet again.
It ends for the Bills again in Kansas City.
It's not fun to be the champs. You got to beat the champs, and we didn't do it tonight.
I root for Buffalo, so late postseason pain is all I know. It's just how it goes. Allen's great, but he can't beat Mahomes.
It's a hard thing to stomach that the team just can't seem to get over that hump of Patrick Mahomes.
Here in the AFC, the Chiefs continue crushing all our dreams. Bleep you, Andy Reid, bleep Travis Kelce, and bleep Mahomes.
Buffalo did not deserve to win.
We can't beat Mahomes, can't beat Mahomes.
They didn't deserve it because they weren't the better team.
Can't beat Mahomes, can't beat Their shadows constantly lurking above me. One shallow cross and suddenly they're scoring. Another Super Bowl with them feels boring. Please, Jalen, beat Mahomes.
Buffalo is Kansas City without the trophies yet.
It's not fun.
What's happening nationally with Kansas City is super interesting because they're going to be so excellent that they beat the bleep you out of you, where you're so frustrated that they always get to win, that is some of the best and most hissing, defiant kind of winning, when you can tell everybody, you guys didn't want us to win and we won anyway. But I have, for many years now, secretly, I'm going to reveal a secret. Tuesday's my favorite day of the week.
Wow.
Here. Yeah.
Wow. Amazing.
I know it doesn't seem like it because I'm perpetually annoyed, and Cody and Stugotz are maximum rodeo clowning. But the problem I have today is I've got Greg Cody fired up about a topic nobody else wants to hear another word about. However, he's the local columnist who has now descended into willing to call the athlete names. Angry enough to call the athlete names. So I've got that in our holster, but I also have Stugotz in the garage trying to fix a spare tire yesterday.
Yeah.
And I have Billy Gill has a bone to pick. And I've got Jerry Jones and an assortment of clown sound.
Wow.
So
Big day. You've got a lot.
So, but Billy with a bone to pick, I snuck that in there. I got to go there first, correct?
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to. It's your show.
Whenever Billy has a bone to pick, that's where you start.
I got to tell you, I have bones to pick just about every day with someone or something. So I'm constantly picking bones. They call me the bone picker.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is there meat on those bones?
Well, not after I'm done with them.
Okay. All right. Let's go. I want to hear it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you're part of this.
Oh,
potentially.
No. Oh, boy.
Reporters, what happened to them? You know what I mean? Like we're not getting reports anymore. We're just kind of getting things that are put out there. I heard like 2 weeks ago there's a Dolphins game in Spain.
Yeah.
And you know what would be great? The date of that game so people can plan to go in advance so that people can book their flights when they're cheap, not 2 weeks beforehand.
Right.
No one's following up on this, trying to figure out what the date of said game is. Chris Cody came out here and he reported that he thought it was going to be the Bengals. So someone told him something, presumably, or he decided, you know what, I'm going to take a 1-8 guess and maybe I'm right.
Yep.
However he did it, he put himself out there.
I stand by that report.
He will either be ridiculed or he will be praised or forgotten, probably also.
And
but
And by the way, I circled back because people after that were like, when's the date?
Yeah,
and
when
I
is
went
the date?
back to the sources. They don't know yet.
Well, no, someone has to know. That's the thing.
Well, dig deeper.
Somebody knows.
Someone knows, but like Chris is not a reporter. So Chris giving up when someone says I don't know, that's fine. He's not a reporter. Now the Gregs of the world, this is what you should be chasing. You should be going out there trying to find this date. Do you not want to go to Spain to see the Dolphins play a historic game in Madrid?
No.
You don't?
Hell no. I've been to Spain.
Why don't you want to go to?
Okay.
Hell no.
First
Spain
of all,
is overrated.
Wait, Chris, your
Everything's in a different language. I mean, come on.
Chris, your father,
English, Spain.
Your father has become so formed. He doesn't want to go anywhere foreign because he's happy in plantation.
Yeah.
A cruise ship plantation. Don't put me on a 12-hour flight that doesn't have a dozen beers on it so that I can get to another country.
Everything he needs is right in plantation.
And he lives in the city plantation for people that are unaware. Let's
I
clarify
travel. I'm a traveling man.
Good job.
A traveling man. I've been to Spain, okay? I've been to Europe. I want to go there to have fun. I don't want to go there to work. I don't want to go to a Dolphin home game that I have to travel 4,400 miles to see.
He'd rather go to Miami Gardens.
No, not necessarily, but at least that's within my range. The NFL's gone crazy with these international games, and the fans are hurting for it. The fans are suffering because of Goodell's obsession with internationalizing
growing
the NFL.
The game.
Well, how about grow the game in the United States?
My man.
How much more growth is there to do here?
Exactly.
What?
I mean, what do we put in? The Netherlands has a franchise next year. What's going on?
But no one agreed with you, and you said exactly. I mean,
Zagaki.
You're not even getting your signature lines right. All right, you know what?
He's
Hold
fired
on
up.
No, it's too early. Don't do it.
No, we're picking bones.
Yeah. Look at this. The finger
He
on the button.
He deserves to. You guys, all right. Look, I'm not going to kick him out, but he's got to get his signature lines right the first 10 minutes of the show.
Yeah, that kind of thing.
It can't
nail that one.
It can't be. Later in the show, we will forgive that it's a stamina thing and he's run out of gas, but we can't be 10 minutes into the show and he lazily throws out as a gug. It's got to be a full force, full Tuesday zagak.
It's
till 11.
Give me a zagak till 11. Let me press the gas till 11. I'll tell you what's happened here, and it happened to all of us yesterday. Sunday takes a lot out of us.
Yeah.
That it takes a lot out of us for the whole week.
Late night.
And so we're going to get a Greg Cody who might be a little fatigued today, a little beat up.
Yeah, he already is. He's fatigued. This kind of thing. Yeah. I mean, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
You're messing with us now.
No. Yeah. What do you mean?
So, Jessica, can you walk me through among these things which you're most interested in? Because we've got Jerry Jones, after he tried to sneak a head coach past us on Friday. Jerry Jones is out here talking, and it's just great to see an 80-year-old man just drunk on power, basically running the most valuable franchise in sports, and just hiring administrative assistant to be his coach because he's going to run it to the grave. You've got that. You've got a video of Stugotz trying to fix a flat tire in the parking lot. You've got, I'm assuming, yet more bone to pick with Billy Gill, and Greg Cody really wants to call Jimmy Butler names.
Also, the Steelers are apparently playing the Packers in Ireland next year, but they haven't announced that either, Billy. I'm just being told that.
We're just never going to know when these games are. How are we supposed to plan?
Right?
How are we to plan, Dan?
When am I going to book my flight?
Exactly right. I'm getting these notifications saying there's flights to Spain on sale until the 28th. That's today. I need to have a decision by today, or I'm just guessing. I can't just guess when this game is going to be. I mean, I could take an educated guess. It's not going to be the first week of the season.
You should just go to Spain for the full 3 months of the season, and that way you're there when the game happens.
This is how you want to know how we're doing this. This is the way that this works. As I've stated in the past, I have no interest in going to Europe. Been there, done that, as Greg said, to Spain. In fact, I went to Spain, but I went to Valencia in Spain, and it was way too long. I was there for like 10 days for a family wedding. I got it. You're a little town.
Yeah.
You're by the
10 days for a wedding.
Mediterranean.
It's enough. I mean,
It was fine. We saw the church. We saw this. We saw that. Like, we saw lots of things. But 10 days in one place was fine. But, like, when you go to these destination weddings, there's so many activities that you need to be part of. I wanted to take a train up to Barcelona. It wasn't that far away. They're like, no, we need to go eat with the in-laws. And I'm like, I don't need to go eat with the in-laws. I can go to Barcelona and see the architecture, see the world. I'm here. When am I going to come again unless the Dolphins come to play, you know? And now I have the opportunity, and this is the way that you do it. You say, wife, that's what I call my wife. I say, wife, listen, Dolphins, they're going to Spain. Wouldn't it be great to go to Spain? Then we can see your family there. Make a week out of it. We'll see your family.
How do you play?
But also, we're not going to Valencia again. We've been there, done that with Valencia. They're going to have to come to us to Madrid. Meet us halfway, not even halfway, but meet us halfway. So what you do is you position it as a family trip when you're really going there to see a football game. You know what I mean? But I need to know when the football game is because since the last time I was there, my family has grown exponentially. And sure, I'm to blame for that, but it has grown exponentially. So now things are pretty much double what they were before because there's 4 of us instead of 2 of us. So I need to get the deals while the deals are there to get got. But I need the reporters to do their jobs and tell me when this GD game is so that I can get these deals at a good price. I want to book these flights today before I have to pay tomorrow's price tomorrow. Someone do some reporting. Devin Ferrones,
I'm back on
get
it.
out there. Tell me what day this game is. Someone, anyone.
Do you like destination weddings, Billy?
I like the idea of them.
The thing that is
not attending them.
They're ridiculous, those things.
Destination weddings?
Yeah, don't get me started on that.
Ugh.
You're insulting all of the people you're inviting by asking them to rearrange their entire schedule to spend big money. I have an unnamed nephew who once got married on a cruise ship.
Really?
So I gotta all of a sudden I gotta buy an international cruise to attend my nephew's wedding? Not necessarily. It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
You know, the destination wedding just isn't flying anymore. I don't know why the groom and bride get together and decide that's a good idea.
You guys being offended by a cruise wedding with all the cruises you guys go on is hilarious.
No, Chris, if you're going to have a destination wedding, you better pay for me to get to that destination.
Pay for all 100 guests.
Yes, thank you.
Otherwise, don't have it.
Guys,
just don't go.
It's a trick, right? Like, people that have a destination wedding are people that don't want to
They
tell
don't
you.
want
They
guests.
don't want you to go to their
Yes,
wedding.
exactly.
So they make it as inconvenient for you as possible so that you don't actually attend their wedding.
Right, and then they don't have to actually do the elopement thing where they accidentally piss off all the aunts and uncles.
Well, no, and then, I mean, if we're going to be really honest about destination weddings, the way that they do it is they say, yeah, you know, we're booking it through this person, and then the more people that actually come, the more stuff they get for free, so they don't actually have to pay for their vacation to wherever it is, either Mexico or the Dominican Republic, whatever. They get a whole package. So really, not only are you going, you're paying for their wedding, and you're paying for their room, and you're paying for their vacation, and for their excursions, and for all of that stuff. It's really a trick. And Greg, to your point, the cruise, if I'm going on a cruise, don't interrupt my cruise with a wedding.
Yeah.
Okay? Like, no thank you.
Right.
And if I have to go to a destination, make it a destination I want to go to. Not one that you want to go to. I think if you're going to have a destination wedding and you invite all these people to go, there should be a committee where you vote on where the destination is. Because, again, we're paying for your entire wedding, and we're paying for your trip and your room and your flights and everything because of us going. We should decide where you have to get married.
Now
if you're going to inconvenience us, at least do it on our terms.
Now I've got the bride sitting and hoping, where's my wedding going to be? Where's everyone going to vote?
Yeah.
It's a great idea to make the bride and groom have the community vote on where would you like our love to be
Is
celebrated.
it multiple choice or can it be anywhere? Can they pick like Boise or something random?
Parkland.
Well, you're allowing the group, the community, to
Billy's
make
backyard.
to make a joke in that case.
I don't want people in my house, though.
Well,
so it'll never be there.
Well, Billy,
neighbor's backyard.
let's examine this for a second because I hate that we're becoming this show. Okay, Greg Cody is sitting here arguing. I don't want to go to an NFL game in Spain, but I would imagine if Meadowlark paid for any employee here to go to Spain for that Dolphin game, that would be a prized possession in this workplace because not everyone is so jaded and cynical after a lifetime making money off of sports that they say, I don't want to go all the way to Spain to see the Dolphins play an NFL game. I don't want to be that show, man. Like, Inside the NBA is complaining a lot about today's basketball. We're now the show that doesn't want to go to a foreign land to watch the Dolphins play because Cody's tired and just wants to drive.
Speak for yourself. I went
Miami,
to Ireland
Miami
a year ago
Springs.
to watch football.
Ireland.
Some of us are not that show.
I was in Germany.
I went to Detroit.
Company paid for Germany.
I love Spain. Don't get me wrong. Barcelona is one of the loveliest cities on earth. I love Barcelona. Madrid, not so much. Folks in Madrid,
That's what
not
I'm
all
saying.
that friendly.
Yeah.
I Madrid going there.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that the NFL just expands too much internationally. I'm against it. And
Again with this.
And I don't think that it's right to ask home fans to travel 4,400 miles on their dime to cheer for the home team. You know,
Luckily, they have a choice. They don't have to go.
This is the NBA where there's 1,000 home games a year. In the NFL, there's 8 or 9 home games a year, and all of a sudden you're taking 12% of someone's home schedule and giving it to Spain? Come on.
Yeah.
Did you go on the cruise wedding, by the way?
I did not. We made up some lame excuse.
What was your excuse?
Well, I don't want to pay, $4,000 to go to my nephew's wedding. Quite frankly.
Yeah, but that's not
So
what
you
said.
told the truth.
It's just a wedding. It's just a wedding. Have it at
just
church.
cut the check and save your money. Yep. Right?
And parenthetically, the marriage failed.
I was going to ask about that. I was going to ask.
You got to let that sit, Billy. You
Yeah.
got to let that sit.
Yeah.
Parenthetically.
Right. Through no fault of my nephew's, quite frankly. I mean, I don't want to get into
Wow.
details. But, it's always a woman's fault. Well, in this case, it's, come on now.
How long did it
She
last?
shall remain nameless. I don't know, a couple of years.
Huh. Interesting.
I want to get back into the destination wedding in a second, and perhaps this statue has been moved from upstairs to now next to me. I'm proud to have it next to me, representing discipline in the face of spoiled brattiness. Greg Cody he's descended into the stage. I haven't seen it in a long time. I really haven't. Local columnist, a man of dignity who has written a number of columns over the years and doesn't usually excoriate anyone. I remember at the end, look, this used to mean something. When Billy talks about reporters and stuff, it used to mean something when the local columnist was somebody of a certain grace who, in our community at least, when he ripped somebody, it meant something.
Yeah.
It wasn't just, gas bags on the radio like us, or even kids in the newspaper like me. When I ripped somebody, it meant less than when Edwin Pope was doing it. Greg Cody is now Edwin Pope in our market, and I don't know that I've ever seen him as angry at an athlete as he presently is at Jimmy Butler. He's descended in the kind of name-calling that I did when Saban left Miami to go to Alabama, and I was wandering everywhere calling him a carpet salesman. Because he sold everybody a bunch of things about how he wanted to be here, and I wandered around calling him names for an entire year.
The old bill of goods, huh?
I mean, he did. It was the easiest thing. Liar!
Yeah.
But now Greg Cody has arrived at quitter.
Yeah. He's quit on everybody. He's quit on his team, on his teammates, on the fans, on the city of Miami, on the integrity of the NBA. I think his actions during all this, and I wrote this column before he was suspended yesterday for a third time this month. He's simply acting unprofessionally. He's acting childishly. I think what he's done lapses on the betrayal level somewhere near traitorous in his actions. I just think he's been I cheer the Heat for suspending him without pay indefinitely because he deserves it. I haven't, in all my time covering this market, I haven't seen or certainly don't recall another instance of an athlete, let alone a star athlete, behaving like this and just ruining. He's ruined his legacy, okay? He was the popular player who would have been a tier below Dwayne Wade in terms of being beloved in this market. That's blown up by his own actions.
It wasn't a great ending with Shaq. I know this. I'm not saying that Shaq was worse than this.
Shaq won a title, though.
I mean, but it was bad at the end.
It was bad. And look, Dwayne Wade didn't go out on the right terms and went to 2 other cities before he came back. I'm not saying everything is a happy ending, but Jimmy Butler has just taken a stick of dynamite to his own legacy down here.
If I may here, because I haven't done any reporting on what happened yesterday. I've read the reports. I don't know how much reporting you have done, Greg. I do believe that at this point, I'm led to assume that the Heat will suspend him if he hiccups wrong. Like that the rules have all changed now to whatever it is we need to do to suspend him. He's now practicing with a bunch of guys who don't want to be practicing with him. If you believe in the cultish aspects of, look, man, these people are very much, it's us against everybody. You're either in here or you're not, because if we're going to be throwing up every day from the workouts, like we're all in here on the same thing to win. You're now embarrassing in public a guy who's had godfather power in this sport, earned for 50 years. I cannot imagine how cruel and petty he is doing this, as he's got the strength of everybody behind him, Stugotz, because it's the easiest thing in the world right now to lean back on Jimmy Butler. The entire machine does. Nobody's going to support what he's doing now. That's not going to be supported even by the crassest of businessmen. But it is the model for how you get your way in this sport. They benefited off of it 15 years ago, and they suffer from it now. Like, this is what happens when the player gets the power.
For the audio audience, Dan is saying all this while pointing to a cardboard cutout of Pat Riley. I mean,
kind of like he was a weatherman.
It's a statue. It's our statue. Yeah. We said this was a statue. It's not a cardboard cutout. It was on the roof of the Elser Hotel because this show now stands in solidarity with Pat Riley. But this particular name calling, can you guys help me? Because I know everybody's tired of this. And look, it's the gossipy, lame news of the moment in sports if you don't want to talk about Jerry Jones. Another suspension for a 500 team that had a nice win last night against Orlando in a regular season that only matters for these things. Like, because Boston's losing against Houston, and we'll make that a nice story. But everyone knows come playoff time, Boston is going to be the team to beat if they're healthy. Even if they go through 20 games, they're weird and lose at home to Houston.
Yep. Maybe the Cavs.
Yeah, maybe. And maybe the Knicks. The Knicks looked great last night as well. Mm-hmm. This Heat is a bit of a nowhere team right now. And this kind of stuff is stuff that sports fans love to eat up. I ask you to imagine, what do you imagine that workplace is like for him right now? The mess he made when I explained to you that this is a cult of people who are going to now line up against you. You're either with us or you're against us. So now the whole machine works against Jimmy Butler. It's not just Pat Riley. It's not just statement after statement. Here's the suspension. Here's another $500,000. The media is going to also do what Greg Cody's going to do because the city's going to applaud Greg Cody saying it.
I don't think he really cares if everyone's against him. In fact, I think Jimmy's kind of comfortable when everyone is going against Jimmy Butler.
Agreed.
So I don't know how it's going to impact him. I do wonder how him not being there impacts the team. Is that a better environment? It seems, from reports that I have read and heard from, it seems like the players do like it more when Jimmy's not around. So they won last night. That was a great win. They came back. They got the W. I may or may not have had the Heat. -1.
Do you think Jimmy's losing this exchange? Because, Jimmy's winning this exchange. Jimmy's getting exactly what he wanted. They said a month ago there's no circumstance in which we will trade Jimmy Butler. And if they don't trade Jimmy Butler, they're just going to have to deal with a year's worth of suspensions every 5 minutes whenever he comes back from his previous suspension. They're going to get rid of him eventually, and he'll go to a new team that hopefully will get him the contract that he wants that they weren't going to give him at this time, which is why he kind of started this stink to begin with. He's not losing. He's getting exactly what he wanted. And by the way, if this wasn't happening here in Miami, we'd all think this was hilarious. We'd all think this is exactly, you'd be talking about how the player has taken the power away from management and how he's doing his own thing.
But it is hilarious. It is
I know,
hilarious.
But we're viewing this from a Miami prism where we're like, this is no way to behave. And this is exactly how the Heat got everyone they've gotten as of late.
That's correct.
This is just the most extreme example so far.
It's amazing.
It's kind of crazy
it's
that he's getting what he wants while behaving terribly.
Yeah.
And supposedly he's getting punished, but he's really just getting what he wants. You think he wants to go back and play these games? No. He wants to go to paddleball, pickleball tournaments, get screamed at by fans, get into fights with people.
On that one, I might stop you just because I do think he wanted the public spectacle of getting his money by showing up and then not starting, and I do believe it bothered him that he was not starting. And so I believe the reports that he walked out of practice early. I would stay until the end of practice if I were him every day, because I would assume they are looking for ways to find that Jimmy Butler to take. You basically have an organization that I'm assuming is, when he shows up to work for this week of days, if indeed it's not going to be, okay, we'll keep you after the trade deadline. We got 10 more teams available to bid on you in the offseason, and then we'll work this to see if you'll ruin the second half of the season, and we'll see if you opt in as your threat. Like, if that's where all of this is going to go. If they actually don't trade him, because I don't know if anyone in our audience thinks that there's a possibility, but I would say there's a more than 0% chance that they don't trade him. I don't think it's a 0% chance that they trade him before the trade deadline. They might make his life miserable right up into the offseason. You want to keep coming to work this way?
But if they don't trade him, it's just it's just ego, right? Like, it's just them thinking we need to win every single trade that we're part of, so we're not going to get rid of Jimmy unless we get better, which is not how these exchanges happen with disgruntled superstars. He's costing himself money. Like, he's losing there. His hope is that he makes all of that money back on signing a deal that he's not going to get. But this is not a relationship that is going to be fixed at any point in time. And he walked out because his option is stay here, and now we're going to embarrass you by not starting you. And he's like,
stunned.
No.
You'd be stunned if they kept him past the trade deadline and said, we'll try to do it this way with Ware. He's going to be Ware's going to be Rookie of the Year. We'll try and do it with big front lines.
If they do it, I believe that it's just because of ego, and it's to try to prove a point that the players don't have the control here. It's not for the betterment of the team.
Well, it would be because they're not getting the type of trade that they want. They don't want to take on money that goes beyond next season. And so they have made it pretty clear from the beginning that they're willing to take expiring contracts, guys that aren't even necessarily that productive, but they'd prefer guys that can play a role on the team. They'd prefer to get draft capital, and they want to free up that space. That's why they handled it the way they did going into this season, which was, if the worst case scenario is that Jimmy decides he wants to leave after this year, fine, we'll take the cap space. But the way that this has gone for Jimmy, to say that he's sort of winning on this one, look, the guy tried to force his way out. He has yet to be traded. He's torched his reputation with a segment of the Heat fan base, not everybody, and there are plenty of fans that understandably are on his side. But he also is not getting traded where he wants to go. Phoenix is in a total stalemate right now because Bradley Beal won't accept a trade to Chicago. They seemingly cannot move his albatross of a contract. And so Jimmy is going to end up, more likely than not, it doesn't mean he won't get traded to Phoenix, but there is a chance he still just gets traded somewhere else that also wants him as a rental and doesn't want to extend him, and he's in the exact same spot after torching his reputation with a segment of a fan base that loved him.
And losing millions along the way.
Jimmy Butler does not lose any sleep at night over whether or not a segment of the Heat fandom doesn't respect him.
No, that's exactly,
not
and you're
second.
right.
Not a second.
What about other GMs?
But he has
lost millions of dollars.
What about other GMs? Like, this isn't like what GM out there is like, you know who I really want on my team? You know what's going to bring us all
A
together?
GM who needs him.
Well, the Heat were stupid for bringing him in because he's done this everywhere he's been.
I don't disagree with
This is
that.
surprising to absolutely no one. Everyone knew this was going to happen, except we believe that Heat culture fairy dust was going to fix this problem. And no, the Godfather's going to change Jimmy Butler. Except guess what? His contract is up, and he's behaving the way he always behaves at this time in his career. This is not a surprise to anyone.
That's why.
How could they be surprised by this? I don't understand how you guys are like, we couldn't have seen this coming. How? How didn't any of you see this coming?
There is no winner because everyone looks bad in this
That's right.
situation.
Except Kevin
it's
Love.
Just a bunch of losers.
Kevin
you're
Love,
right about that.
Having fun on the internet with it.
Mm-hmm.
I would too, honestly. They, some of them are texting Jimmy like, Jimmy, you should do this. Like all the other disgruntles that aren't in the position to be disgruntled, they're like, you know what I would do if I was you. And then they go and just like poke and prod. Like, this is the guy in the class that you know is going to misbehave and do the bad things that you don't actually want to do because you don't want to get in trouble. So you just give him all of the bad ideas. Like, this is what you should do. He's like, you know what? I got nothing.
Well,
to lose now.
what do you do
this.
though?
Tell Jimmy, he'll do it.
I think you are right. This is all hilarious. And what do you do when you're met with Greg Cody's stinging criticism of Jimmy Butler? And only Jimmy Butler, by the way, because Greg's not criticizing the Heat.
No, I don't blame the Heat for not wanting to extend a lavish max contract on a 35-year-old guy. I think that's a smart business decision by the Heat.
And you understand Jimmy wanting to get his money.
Yeah, but if he's not getting it here, how about show some class, be a professional, play hard for the last part of this season.
Play it out.
And if you get traded, fine. And if you don't, become a free agent and do your thing.
Forgive me for taking this long to get to the Jerry Jones sound. I will ask that the audience and Jessica and Jeremy and everyone, please tell me, give me a sound, give me something that alerts me to when we've talked Jimmy Butler 12 minutes too long.
You shouldn't have included me in that conversation.
Billy was cooking. I feel like we can keep going.
Well,
Because I can't friggin' book these flights to Spain, and I have to take it out on someone.
Yep.
Yes,
Greg's not doing his
Jessica,
job.
but this is the thing, right? The thing that's happening with Billy, yes, Billy was cooking, and I would be happy to listen to this viewpoint by Billy because Billy speaks for both the audience and people who are so very tired of all of the heat talk that has infected this show for the last 15 years. For the last 15 years. So you're voicing something that was actually fresh. It wasn't this musty plume of cobweb smoke that comes out of the old columnist's face when he criticizes the athlete for misbehaving. You gave us some new stuff. You said everyone's a fool. You're all idiots, and we'd be laughing at this if we were still a funny show.
I just want to maybe go to Spain, but it's also a long flight.
Mm-hmm.
Very long.
And
Now
then
we
what
have
do
to
I
change
do?
the subject because Pat Riley looks bad in this time.
International games are always weeks 4 through 10. There's your hint.
Yeah, but that's a 6-week window that
I
I
know.
need to fill, and I need to guess the right one. They're not going to start in Spain, right? Probably not.
No, they're not starting in Spain.
Enough with London, if we're going to be honest. London, look, either London gets it or they don't. We don't need to do 3 games a year in London. Crowds aren't even that great.
The Eagles started the season in Brazil last year.
Yeah,
on
but that
Friday night.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. And then there's a whole green thing and the gang wars. And was it real? Was it not? We didn't know. Then they wore green anyways. Everyone was fine.
Billy, just say you're going to do a man on the streets and get the company to pay for it.
Mm-hmm.
That's what Roy does.
Not a bad idea.
Roy tried to go to Finland.
Yeah,
right?
he
Was it
did.
Finland?
Yeah,
that
he
was
did.
like where we put
Did
the
he
foot
go?
down on international
Finland.
travel.
Yeah, Roy thought the hockey
Finland?
show's popularity has
Scandinavia?
Yeah, he thought we should send him to
Well, it was
Finland
big.
to go drink beer so he could come back with a guitar riff again.
The Fenley Cup champs, he had to go cover that.
That's where the Dolphins should play. Finland.
Yeah.
That's not a bad.
they
not
do.
bad.
I
yeah.
get it.
Go to Scandinavia, Goodell. You've conquered everything else in the world. Attack Scandinavia. Have it become an American football region.
Finland.
Figuratively.
Finland.
Figuratively.
Dolphinland.
Yeah.
There you
got
go.
it. Yeah.
That's a good. That's what they should call the
Finsland,
country.
Exactly.
Dolphinland.
It's like Yankee.
Putting it on the record, I don't like that you guys just talked about Roy behind his back.
No!
What the Helsinki is going on with
Agreed.
you?
I don't know what came out of my mouth
Greg,
just then.
he got his line wrong again.
I know.
You got to get for me, you have to get isolated, him trying to deliver his Zagak there
Yeah.
and delivering it really poorly. And get me the Jerry Jones sound, please, because I don't want this guy to get away with it. Jerry Jones at 80 cannot and must not be allowed to sneak a head coach past us when we're not paying attention because we're busy with the games this week. And he tried to do it on Friday, and he got a bunch of noise at night, and now Jerry Jones is going everywhere, giving more press conference than Brian Schottenheimer, and he's telling you every way and fashion that he runs the team and Brian works for him, and their franchise is the most valuable one in the sport.
Now, I get my proverbial ass kicked over needing people in my comfort zone. Without this thing being about me in any way, if you don't think I can't operate out of my comfort zone, you're so wrong. It's unbelievable. This is as big a risk as you could take. As big a risk as you could take. No head coaching experience.
Just sitting right next to Brian Schottenheimer.
Yeah.
Look, if you think I can't get out of my comfort zone, look at this idiot I just hired.
No coaching experience.
Wow. Brian is just like awkwardly like, okay, thank you. Thanks, coach.
I'll prove to you guys how tough I am. Look at this fool I hired. I can't even imagine how distorted that dude is. Just distorted from whatever comes with fame and wealth in that sport. I saw, I said yesterday, Don Van Natta and Seth Wickersham, who are among the best of real reporting that Billy wants on this game in Spain.
They did a deep dive?
Just give me a date.
No, it wasn't deep. It was a shallow dive, and I've come to expect deep, deep dives from them, and all they did was there was some secondhand reporting on stuff that confirmed what we already knew, that Dan Snyder is a bleep hole, and that Dan Snyder is a bleep hole who would not enjoy Washington having success after he's gone. But the reporting from great reporters created a story that made it yet more obvious to me. Man, the wealthy in this country are getting so wealthy that reporters can't even really get near them. Not anymore. Like that there's so many shields and interferences that if you kill the news media, if like Wickersham and Van Natta are doing it as well as it can be done, and they're going anonymous sources that were near the dinner and heard about the dinner, because where rich people reside, reporters can't get there anymore to smoke out like what the real truth is. And Snyder left in disgrace. Like Snyder, we didn't even get to they did a lot of reporting on Snyder. What Snyder left in his wake was a disaster minefield that was only revealed to us because the other owners also wanted him gone.
Right. But Daniel Snyder not being happy with the Commander's success after he leaves is the least shocking thing I've ever heard. I don't need a deep dive on that.
That's correct.
That's a waste of reporting.
Yes.
By the way, Van Natta 100% knows when the Spain game is, Billy.
I know. Yeah, I know.
But Jerry Jones was not shy about chatting during this press conference. Apparently it was just like 80 minutes of long answers. And there was another really awkward moment when they introduced Brian Schottenheimer that I don't know if people caught, but it made me cringe.
Our new Dallas Cowboys head coach, Brian Schottenheimer. And Chief Operating Officer, Executive Vice President of Player Personnel, and co-owner Stephen Jones.
All right. No clapping. Yeah. And Brian Schottenheimer feels the awkwardness and is like, I'll clap for you.
He has no choice. So.
You think if I get DVN a little liquored up with the Rooster, he'll let it slip, tell the Rooster, then the Rooster could tell me? The Rooster, for those of you who don't know, is Don Van Natta's domino partner. We played dominoes together. DVN and the Rooster and me. They whipped my ass.
Chris, are you simply laughing because Billy sunk deep into his explanation of who the Rooster was because he realized he was ending a segment with a joke for 7 people?
Greetings to all. Welcome to 2022. Omicron is on the run, and away it went. But oops, there goes gravity, and here comes a new variant. Omaha, Corona, Hut 1, Hut 2, nothing infects the Super Bowl, and nothing stops football.
Racism, greed, trauma to brain and spine. And yet, I cannot look away. Heroes are dead. Science has their heads. Oh, is there no escape from here? I need to know. It eats my soul. Nothing stops the NFL. cockfighting, CTE, prayer circles. They blackballed the black baller. They tried to end racism by stenciling it in the end zone. Billionaire boys using millionaires as toys. It's all immoral, all unethical. Ooh, the witching hour. Nothing stops the NFL. Is this heaven or hell? I can't tell. It's Urban and Snyder and Flores and Gruden, but Kyler, but Kelsey, but Cooper, but Canty. It's cheating and tanking and bounties and banking, but parlays, but face paint, but Romo, but innings.
Here we go. This one's for all the glory. Give it your best, it's all you got. Throw it back. Oh, it's all part of the story. You talk the talk, now walk the walk. Yeah.
When the game's on the line, will you have the guts to make the call? When it's crunch time, will you make us scream, God bless football?
From the back of every bar, on the subway, on the streets or in your car, wherever you have found yourself, scream out your.
This episode of the Dan Le Batard Show with Stugotz is presented by DraftKings. DraftKings, the crown is yours.
We've done some digging, some reporting. We called the Cowboys. Meadowlark Media did some work here. What happened, Billy?
I thought you knew when the game was.
Right.
That reporting I have not done yet.
What about Jimmy Butler?
I have not done Jimmy Butler reporting either. I'm waiting for things to get more interesting.
They're not interesting enough?
No, I mean,
Okay.
they're going to keep getting more interesting. I mean, we're going to have a week of escalation, are we not? Like, that's going to bear monitoring pretty, I think. I think there are likely to be sparks any day because they're fighting in public in a way that is needed in order to get the separation that you want. But Jerry Jones has been for years now saying a phrase that I don't think he knows what it means. And we've called the Dallas Cowboys and we've asked behind the scenes anonymous sources, and they've told us, look, everyone's too afraid to correct him. They don't want to correct him, and he doesn't know what he's saying here, and this is just what he says. And so you tell me whether someone with the Dallas Cowboys should correct Jerry Jones because of how he keeps saying this. He's been doing this for years.
There's a very low percentage of this that is smiles and glory holes. Very low percentage.
A very low percentage.
Wow.
He doesn't know what it means, right? Like what, or does he know what it means? And he's just out here saying, you know what? I'm all about the glory hole and I don't care who knows it.
I mean, he's like 80-something, right? Like, there has to be a different meaning that he knows.
Well, can
from
you
like
find,
80? Well, no, I'm not Googling that.
Someone please find this for us. Do some reporting. Let's play some more sound here of Jerry Jones. Doesn't seem to know what this phrase means, or does he know more than the rest of us?
For me, it's a reminder. I, too, have been here 23 years. And it is a reminder. I've been here when it was glory hole days, and I've been here when it wasn't. And so having said that, I want me some glory hole.
Whoa!
There has to be hunting or something here, right?
The rough times that you have with sport, everybody has it. Everybody, you can't really play unless you have some hard times. But it is the absolute glory hole to have that elusive win to be the champion.
Greg Cody, are you hearing all of this for the first time? You are laughing as
Yes.
if you're hearing it for the first time.
I am. I am hearing this for the first time. This is why the director of media relations was created. The whole job exists so you can tell somebody like Jerry Jones, hey, Jerry, Google glory hole and never say the phrase again in public.
Greg, back in your day, did it mean something different?
It meant exactly what I think it means now.
Well, but I think there's
Dan, I went to gloryhole.com.
Oh, no.
Don't go there.
All right, so here's the deal on this, because this is uncomfortable, but at some point, I'm assuming that there's some people in our audience who don't know what a glory hole is. I'm also assuming that everyone in our audience who does know somehow learned one day what that was, in whatever fashion it is that you learned that. How does he not know that at 80? And is there a 10-year difference in where it is that this expression would live, that Greg Cody roars with laughter every time Jerry Jones says it, but Jerry Jones is 10 years older than Greg Cody, and to his people, the 80-year-old demo, we sound like fools right now, as they're like, no, you fools, glory hole just means glory. That's how we used to say it before we took away the hole. There has to be an explanation for this.
It dates back to digging for gold.
So, so that the expressions he's making is about money, and he's going to keep doing it that way. He's going to just keep talking about it's not all smiles and money, or you putting your penis through a wall in a men's bathroom.
What? You guys ever heard of the sushi glory hole? Imagine that. What? It's an SNL thing.
Nice.
It's an SNL video.
What?
Really funny.
Really good.
Really good.
Lonely Island.
Greg, Jerry Jones running the Cowboys at this point, running the Cowboys this way at this point, rewarded at every turn, not with wins and excellence, but with a relevance that's always in play, because it doesn't matter like this when the Jags hire a nobody, or when anybody, or this franchise still matters somehow, even though it's not actually excellent. It's more watched than any of the franchises. It's more talked about than any of the franchises. It's more valuable than any of the franchises.
It's crazy.
He's the most powerful man in the sport, even though he doesn't win anything. He's keeping Robert Kraft out of the Hall of Fame. He's keeping Robert Kraft out of the Hall of Fame.
No, he's the most powerful owner in the NFL, I think. And they're still America's team 30 years after their heyday.
Yeah.
They own a niche with the New York Yankees and very few other franchises in all of sports. You know, they're unbeatable. No matter how much they lose, they're the Dallas Cowboys. They're always going to be the most valuable franchise. Always. I don't know why, but Jerry Jones realizes that. And quite frankly, if I was a billionaire who owned a pro franchise, you'd have a tough time keeping me away from a microphone. I think I would. I'm surprised there aren't more owners like Jerry Jones.
Right.
I'm surprised he's the anomaly.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we're kind of the freaks now, because I'm reading about the previous meaning of the word glory holes, and it's a remnant of 1930s Depression era mining, and it kind of makes sense because that's sort of the world he grew up in.
Who would have thought, in an exchange of Jerry Jones and us, we'd be the sickos?
But still, if you're the media guy for the Cowboys,
you have Jerry listening to that guy.
You just say, hey, Jerry, just so you know, this has another meaning.
It's also oil. He's like, I know, oil. And it's like, no, Jerry, not that one either.
We're not gold prospecting anymore.
Okay. I mean, to make sure I wasn't wrong, I did Google glory hole.
Oh, good. What'd you find?
And what comes up is
what
we all
went
think.
to that site.
What do we think?
No, I just Googled the phrase.
Show Dan. Turn that computer
glory
on.
hole.
What happens?
Let's not do that.
What's the first link?
Let's not do that.
A glory hole is a hole in a wall or partition, often between public lavatory cubicles or sex video arcade booths and lounges, for people to engage in.
What was that sound?
Yeah.
It's what it said.
It was, a bad word being
That's what the
bleeped by me.
Sims say when they do it.
Yeah.
Self-bleeping.
Is hole the funniest word that's just a regular word?
Huh.
Greg Cody, I'm going to play for you here, and this is I'm going to need, if I may, because you've been carrying us for a while, and you are allowed to be sluggish after carrying us on Sunday, cracking open Miller Lights and carrying our whole Sunday live stream. But I have proof now that your Zagak, which used to be delivered with luster and is one of your signature sayings.
Sure,
it's
Zagaki.
People come out here, and on Tuesdays, if they get one or two of your signature phrases, it's a wonderful day for them. They're looking for it. Here is how you delivered your signature Zagak.
Exactly.
Dolphinland.
Zagacki. Exactly.
Dolphinland.
Zagacki.
Zagacki.
Exactly.
Dolphinland.
Sounded good to me.
That sounds good to you?
I got to be honest.
Sounded good to me. Exactly.
Dolphinland.
Zagacki.
Zagacki. You come right back with Zagacki because you can feel how.
Does
poorly
Joe
you said it.
Zagacki hate us? Does Joe Zagacki
Yes,
hate our
I did
show?
reporting on this. Yes, he does. Yeah.
Dolphinland.
Zagacki.
Okay, so wait. All right, so guys, please find for me the photo of Joe Zagacki.
Well, how is this going to help?
It's
I mean,
not.
let's find it.
I mean, this
he
is
hates us. It's
well,
okay.
look,
Right.
if we're going to have minor funny beef with somebody in local celebrity, Joe Zagacki is a legend and a worthy foe. He is a University of Miami icon. He is somebody who has been a media person in this market who has been successful and high-end integrity for 40 years.
Yeah, survived a plane crash.
Zagacki.
Wow. Really?
Just as an aside. Yeah.
Go on.
He's a good guy. I mean, you know who hated what I did was Eric Reed hated it when I used to make fun of him and do an impression.
Yeah.
He came up to me once
Wasn't
on
happy,
a
yeah.
road trip. Not
I know,
real thrilled
I know.
about that.
Yeah.
Yes, that's bringing it back to another beef you have, but the one that we're talking about right now with Zagacki. Mike Ryan told me he got Mike Ryan's a very big University of Miami fan. Joe Zagacki's the voice of the University of Miami sports, has been for many years. And when Mike Ryan pulls up next to Joe Zagacki at UM games, he feels the ice. He feels, just because our show has made his name something that echoes throughout Miami. He should be, I think, he should be grateful that we are living in support and service of his local celebrity, and we are helping boost the Zagacki brand.
That's quite the spin we're putting on what we do with Joe Zagacki,
Mm-hmm.
especially when you have the Joe Zagacki who gets very political at times, and you guys just make a joke of Joe Zagacki at every turn possible.
Yeah, but it's fun.
In honor of him, apparently, because he's a great guy who survived the plane crash.
Because of how ridiculous it is to have that particular character, a lovable local icon who survived the plane crash, having strident political opinions. It's absurd. It's satire. No one would think of Zagacki that way. He's clearly not that. He's the opposite of that. We're doing satire.
Well, I mean, people that don't know who he is may not know that. Now, I have a question for you, Greg. You said survived the plane crash, then you said great guy. Now, if you didn't think he was a great guy, would you change your tune on the whole plane crash situation? Because it seemed like you were happy because he's a great guy.
I think anyone who survives a plane crash becomes a great person.
Really?
Yeah,
Really?
I do.
Even if you're a bad person to begin with,
well,
huh?
I would make an exception to that. You know,
Really?
like
Really?
If, you know, I don't want to
Didn't Ric Flair survive a plane crash?
Yes.
Okay,
Are we
there
saying
you go.
he's not a great person? Hold on. For the record, Greg Cody : Ric Flair is not a great
You know
person.
what? I'm with Greg on this. I'm going to go ahead and
Thank
say
you.
it. If you're guilty, I'm not going to be an absolutist
Hold on
about
a second.
this.
Well, let's hear Greg's stance.
Right.
Simply that until I survive a plane crash, I have nothing but respect. You know, what are you doing in the plane? Well, other people are panicking. You're doing something different. You know, you got an angle going. You know, you're burying your head a little more.
Right.
You know,
You've
you're
got some
shoving somebody
secrets.
else out of the
You've
way.
got a survivor's
Right.
secrets.
Who knows what goes on inside a plane?
Can't even imagine.
Plummeting
Right.
to Earth.
Yes.
And so Zagacki can live to tell the tale. Now, granted, it was a small plane in his case. You know, it's not like he's in a Boeing 767.
Well, that's more impressive.
Do it in a big plane.
Yeah.
Is what
Do
you're
it in a
saying.
do it in a big plane.
Yeah, right.
The survivor of a big jet airliner accrues more credit from me than the survivor
Makes
of
sense,
a
yeah.
small plane crash, quite frankly.
Jessica, why are you rolling your eyes at Greg Cody? Is it your love of flight? Is it your
No, it's
obsession
because
with?
now I'm googling did Hitler ever survive a plane crash to try to
Wow.
like get Greg, and I don't know how I ended up here.
Okay.
Were there planes back then?
Worst people to survive
worst
plane
war.
crashes.
Yeah.
Yes, there were
It's
planes
known
when Hitler was around.
Famously,
they were
famously,
biplanes,
There were
weren't
planes during World War II.
Yeah, no, they were biplanes, I think.
Zeppelins.
Yeah, Led Zeppelins. No, if Hitler survived a plane crash, I would make an exception
Wow.
to that.
Okay, wait a minute. That's wait a minute.
For the record, let's write that
Don't
down.
lose anyone.
That's
Hold
the
on,
exception
write
to
that
the
down for the
exception.
record.
You already made an exception, and that's the one time Hitler. Come on. Get this together. The exception is fair, and I think we'd all buy it, if not being absolute about it necessarily, case-by-case basis, depending on now and future Hitlers.
Hold on. You wouldn't say he was a good guy, but you respected him more because he survived a plane crash.
Zagacki, you mean?
No.
I thought you were agreeing with Billy.
It was confusing.
For TSA.
Don't say yes here, Greg.
It was confusing. All right.
Don't say
If you survive a plane crash, you deserve a little bit of credit. You've done something that most
Unless you're
other
Hitler.
people
Agreed.
don't do.
You know what? Hold on a second.
Well, let's not jump to conclusions on Hitler.
No.
You see what I'm saying?
No.
You see what I'm
no.
saying?
See, now you got
Dangerous
carried
game.
away. No,
You did
no.
that to a
You know
plane
what?
crash
No,
survivor,
you know
guys.
what?
Come
You know
on.
what? You know what?
Minor penalty, 2 minutes, stumbling.
I'm sorry. Don't. Zagak was not welcome there. Not there. Be more careful, all of you. Be more careful. Okay, this isn't a Joyland playground. I want to start with his original exception, which is, if you survive a plane crash, are the people listening to this willing to forgive previous crimes on a person to merely say out loud, even if it's a lie, good guy, good person?
I have something. If you survive a plane crash, all parking tickets go away. What? All unpaid parking tickets you're clear.
There should be a bonus. Chris is right.
Yeah.
That doesn't seem like enough, though.
It doesn't seem like enough. It should be part of a package, a schemes package.
What if you have no outstanding parking tickets? I mean, you're talking about future parking tickets as well?
You can just park wherever you want.
Then you get
Okay.
a $200 gift card from the airline.
$200.
If you have no unpaid parking tickets.
If I
It's not
almost crashed,
$200.
if I almost crashed in an airplane crash, and the airline's like, "Here's a $200 voucher," I'd be like, "Do you think I'm ever flying on your airline again? Like, get out of here, $200 voucher."
I get $200 when they lose my luggage.
You can't even get a flight for $200.
Chris Cody started the bidding here very low what a human
a lot
life.
of people on a plane, guys.
But also like what an airline would offer.
Here.
It goes above the airline, because when you survive a plane crash, you are no longer a human being. You become supernatural. You become a superhero.
You're right.
To the degree that I think anyone who survives a plane crash should immediately become a cardinal in the Catholic Church.
I mean,
Wow.
Okay,
come
because
on,
you
come on.
become you
What
become
if it's not their religion?
It doesn't matter.
Doesn't
You
matter.
Get to
become like
elect
a
the Pope,
deity.
Dan.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Catholics need all the help they
What
can
if
get.
a Jew survives a plane crash? Then?
Well, you know, he becomes a
Rabbi?
Yeah,
All right.
a rabbi.
Change
right.
from within.
All right. Diana Rossini is there. She is ready. She is willing to join us. Can you get me some celebrities who have survived plane crashes? Ric Flair tests our theory right away. Ric Flair, but are we forgiving previous crimes because plane crash survived? I'll allow it. What else we got?
I have a list here of 7 celebrities that have survived plane crashes. Number 7, Sandra Bullock.
What?
Really?
Cardinal Bullock.
Huh?
Good woman.
Number 6, Post Malone. Number 5, Barack Obama.
What?
It's the whole thing with Air Force One.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right?
Number 4, Travis Barker. That one's famous. Number 3, Jennifer Aniston.
Really?
Number 2, Harrison Ford. And number 1, Bono.
Wow. How about that? Rabbi Bono.
Diana Rossini is there now. She's looking at her phone. She cannot stop looking at her phone. The news is going fast and furious.
New hair?
It is not new hair. What? No, it's
Looks different this week.
It does not. It does not. It looks
2 weeks in a row.
What do you mean? It looks wonderful. What are you guys doing? Why are you putting your hand over
We're
your
not
face?
saying it doesn't look good. We said she looks great.
Yeah,
you're saying
not
it.
us.
Right. What are you
Good
talking
hairdo.
about? Right.
Diana, give me what you're finding most interesting about the football news. We've got to get right to it with you because there's a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah, this is hotel hair. So I'm in Mobile, Alabama. I'm sitting on the floor of my hotel room right now joining you guys because you've got the Senior Bowl this week. Do you guys know what that is?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yes, say hi to Riley Leonard for me, Diana.
Oh. So yeah, it's I was actually just looking at the map. I didn't realize we were so close to the water. I just assumed I was like in the middle of America. I don't often take a look at where I'm actually going and thinking about it. But yeah, I'm here. It's great. A lot of Italians in Mobile.
Really?
So
Diana, hold on a second, because I'm seeing sweep through the room there what looks to me, from where I'm looking, a whole bunch of people who have realized that Obama wasn't actually in a plane crash.
Well, he's on this list. In 2008, he was aboard a plane that was involved in an on-the-ground collision with another plane.
Yeah,
this
it
is not a
doesn't
plane
count.
crash.
Yeah.
I mean, technically,
Gotta be in the air.
Technically crashed.
Gotta be in the air.
Terrifying.
Fraud claim.
30,000 feet.
That is a
Yeah.
crash.
How do you not
What
see
else
the
would
other
you
plane?
call it?
It's like,
What
oh,
else
look, there's
would you
another
call
plane
it?
right
That's a
there.
He
crash.
didn't survive
That
anything.
is a plane crash.
It's probably an air traffic control issue. They're
It is a
probably
plane
telling
crash.
one to go one way and the other to go the other
It's
way.
a plane accident.
That's
It's a
ridiculous.
plane-
Insurance
He
fraud.
did survive. A plane collided with another
please, I
plane.
don't
That's
hear
an
that.
accident.
If you drive into a parked train, you
Right.
haven't been involved in a train wreck.
Yeah, you haven't
Put
been
it,
hit by a
put
train.
it, put it on the
Do
poll
it at 30,000 feet.
at Le
Exactly.
Batard Show. If you drive into a parked train, have you been
Do it at
in a
30,000.
hold on? Have you been in a train accident?
Train wreck is better.
Train wreck. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And also, hey train, do it at 30,000 feet
Plane, yeah.
at Le Batard Show.
Ridiculous conversation.
That is correct.
To the Senior Bowl.
You okay, Greg?
Diana, I don't like
Mobile.
you. I don't like you being there. I think that that you've gotten to a place in your career where you shouldn't have to go there, even with all the relationship building. I don't think that's a good job for you. I think it's beneath you.
I don't think so. I disagree with you. I like coming down here because it's actually a pretty laid back environment where you have a lot of the scouts and coaches and general managers kind of just hanging out in their workout gear, watching practice with nothing to do all afternoon. So this is actually a busy few days for me to just catch up with everyone, kind of discuss what their plans are here for the off season. We've got obviously free agency coming up here. They've got the combine in a few weeks. So it's actually a convention of the losers, right? Because none of the teams that are actually playing this weekend, their people aren't here. It's like there's no one from the Chiefs here. There's no one from the Eagles. This is all those that are now the ones that have moved on and are already looking forward to next season. So while I think traveling and having to, stop in two different cities just to get here is beneath me, because I just don't like doing any of that. I do like being here. So.
But from a professional standpoint, you like it because this is where relationships are strengthened. This is where relationships are made for you, correct? You have time to talk to some of these GMs, correct?
Yeah, before I came back to my room here to join you guys, I was having breakfast with a couple scouts, and they were like, so, like, do you bring a notebook to practice and, just keep track of what players are doing? I'm like, What? I don't even watch practice. What are you talking? I'm on TikTok the whole time for the 2 hours those guys are out there, because I'm really just waiting for all the agents and the GMs and the coaches to wrap up from what they're doing, so I can talk to them about usually what they saw, what they like, which players stood out, and really, as much as this is about the theme here and the feel here is it's about these upcoming players. No one's really focused on that. Everyone is talking about what's coming up next, and obviously everyone's talking about the Eagles and the Chiefs still.
Can we play some sound for Diana of new Jags coach Liam Cohen here? You tell me here as we go through some of these coaching hires what your reaction is to some of this stuff. Go ahead and play that clip, please.
That's what this is about. Jacksonville, the community, Duval. How do we do this together?
He didn't say that right.
No, he really didn't. Creepy the way he said it.
Wrong emphasis on the wrong syllabi.
Yeah, he didn't do that right.
The best part is in the video, his face, he thinks he's nailing it.
No, does he?
Like the smirk, he's like, yeah. Like he thinks this is going to go viral for all the right reasons.
Yeah, it was a bit sensual the way he said it, I thought.
Let's play that again one more time. I do detect a hint, a dollop of sensual.
That's what this is about. Jacksonville, the community, Duval.
No, you know what?
How do we do this together?
It's a great question. They've been asking it for a lot of years there, buddy.
No, please look at this again. I want you to look at just his face. I'm sorry, audio audience. Just look at his face and watch just his eyebrows. And you tell me what kind of confidence this man has.
That's what this is about. Jacksonville, the community, Duval. How do we do this together?
His eyebrows did a roller coaster. Diana, you saw it.
It was the dance after. It was the shoulder, like.
Yeah, shimmy, shimmying.
The shimmy, like. Look, I hope we look back on this and it's not an Adam Gase moment. We look back on it and go, all right, he didn't nail that, but man, can that guy coach, because he's had quite the dramatic few days. Going, I don't know how much you guys know about how this all came together. I can do it real quick for you in about 40 seconds. But Tampa Bay Bucks wanted to bring him back as an offensive coordinator, made him the highest paid guy. Jacksonville wants to interview him for the head coaching job. They say, go do it. It's good experience. You're a young coach. Sit down with an owner, see what that's like. He comes back. He said, I think they really like me. They're like, oh, they can't like you too much. You need to stay here. You're our OC. You're going to stay here, right? Here's a new deal. We'll give you even more money to stay here. So he's in a win-win situation. He's getting paid a bunch of money to stay as the Tampa Bay Bucks offensive coordinator, coaching Baker Mayfield. And then part of that verbal agreement was you can't interview anymore. Like, it's done. You're here. He goes quiet, goes dark on them, and he takes a flight to Jacksonville and meets with Shad Khan all day long. And then there they decide that you're going to be the new head coach of the Jacksonville Jags. We're going to pay you Ben Johnson type money, a little less than that actually. 5 years, $10 million bucks, and you're going to have control. You have full control.
What is the name of the Jags owner? Can you repeat that, please?
Shad Khan.
All right. Here's how Mad Dog says it.
He got upset at the way Shaka Khan handled it.
The Queen of Funk. I mean.
Okay, so you guys know I grew up listening to Mad Dog, and so I've met him. It's got to be 40 times now, just from being in sports. And, when he joined ESPN, I'd see him in the green room, and we have some great conversations about life and parenting and family. And, he gives me advice when I don't even ask it. So he goes on his show, and he's like, there's this woman, Diana Ruccini. She's reporting that blah, 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 blah. And I'm thinking to myself, the guy knows who I am. He talks to me all the time. But it wasn't so much that he botched my name. It was that he had no idea who that person was that was reporting it. And I realized in that moment, I don't think Chris knew what I was doing at ESPN. I think he thought I did makeup. So
Shaka Khan.
We have not gotten Stugotz's thoughts. I am assuming that this is exclusive to God Bless Football on the new Jets hire, but we will get those thoughts after we play. He gave good press conference yesterday, but Stugotz has been beaten up by this franchise. He's heard, it wasn't Al Groh's press conference, but he's heard a lot of press conferences here. He's tired of people who can win the press conference. Look what happened yesterday with Aaron Glenn.
Put your seatbelts on and get ready for the ride. Listen, there are going to be some challenges. But with challenges gets opportunity. But here's what I do know. We're the freaking New York Jets, so we're built for this.
Goosebumps? We're not built for this. I love that Aaron Glenn wants to be the Jets head coach. I love that Aaron Glenn would prefer this be his final job in the NFL. And so in the absence of being able to actually hire a good coach, I'll start with taking a guy who actually wants to be the Jets head coach. And Aaron Glenn gets the area, gets the fan base.
They would all want to be the Jets head coach.
This guy wants to be the Jets head coach for the next 20, 25 years. He does. He wants this to be his last job in the NFL. And I'll take that. That's good enough for me.
Say that.
Oh, no one wants to be the Jet head coach. No one dreams of being the New York Jets head coach. Nobody, except for Aaron Glenn. And I'll take it.
You also, sneaky called him not a good coach.
I'm not certain he is. I mean, he gave up 45 points at home to the Commanders.
A lot of injuries.
So you're just someone who's willing to accept any coach that is somebody who wants to work for you?
Yeah, someone who wants to be there. Yeah,
Man.
Rex Ryan, Aaron Glenn. We'll take it. It's a starting point, Dan.
All right.
Okay.
Are you allowed to say we're the freaking New York Jets when you haven't won anything in 55 years?
No,
I'm just asking.
You can't say that.
Let's play the sound again here, because I think we should leave the shit in and bleep out the word before it, so it just sounds like he's saying something different.
Put your seatbelts on and get ready for the ride. Listen, there are going to be some challenges, but with challenges becomes opportunity, gets opportunity. But here's what I do know. We're the freaking New York Jets, so we're built for this.
I mean, he is going safety first with the seatbelts. That's good.
Mm-hmm.
We're built for shit. Bleep out the this and leave in the shit. And we're the New York Jets. We're built for shit. Also, put your seatbelts on. What Obama said when he saw that the planes were going to crash.
Got my seatbelt on.
Like, put your seatbelt on. That's a nothing phrase of like, what's going to happen? Put your seatbelt on. We're going to get into an accident. I'm coaching a team called the Jets.
Usually buckle up hits harder there.
Yeah,
than,
buckle
hey,
up.
put your seatbelts on.
Buckle up. Yeah.
Put your seatbelts on.
Strap it on.
It is what a pilot that was going down at sea would say before taking a job. Put your seatbelts on. Like, I don't know what he's offering us there. We're like,
Chris is right. He messed it up, the phrase. Chris is right. In New York, that's like the back page of the New York Post right now. I don't think he meant to say fasten your seatbelts. He meant to say buckle up, like we're going to get this thing off the ground and go.
No, but I strapped my seatbelt across my chest there.
Like
Where
when
are we
buckle
going?
Up, you do it aggressively. When you put your seatbelt on, you're like fiddling and you're like,
Right. You got to buckle up in that case.
Let's get some more sound because the things in the NFL, I don't know how much information you feel is coming your way that is too much. Like the gossip is high now because a lot of people are just sitting around waiting for the football season to end and all they have to do is talk, right?
Yeah, people are pretty gossipy right now, but now that the coaching cycle is wrapping up here, we're just waiting for the Saints to make their hire. The buzz today has really just been Jerry Jones and just the way that press conference went down. I mean, it should be studied because there were so many moments of just awkwardness. There were moments, it was some moments where he was emotional. The whole thing was really weird. And I kept thinking, if I was Brian Schottenheimer, does this owner want me here? Because there was some tone in there where it was kind of, it could be condescending at times. I didn't really get this rah-rah speech from Jerry that made me go, okay, I get it. I get why he went in-house, why he went with the offensive coordinator of the head coach that he fired. Because to me, I don't care what they're trying to sell in Dallas. They did not have a plan. They did not think that this was going to fall apart with Mike McCarthy and that the two sides would go in different directions and that they would be on the market for a head coach. They were not prepared.
Diana, it is so weird. I don't know. Tell me if I have this wrong because Lord knows plenty of people talk about the Dallas Cowboys enough. The idea that the Cowboys would have that season and that Mike McCarthy, I don't know how honest he is, talking about like how bothersome it is to be run poorly. But for Mike McCarthy to have his choice of whether or not he went back to work after that season, or for them to be surprised by Mike McCarthy turning them down, like what is being said about how dysfunctional this 80-year-old man bloated on power is running that franchise because he's in charge. Mike McCarthy very much worked for Jerry Jones, and Jerry Jones, no matter how systemic we think these things are, Jerry Jones is the final call on all things, and his hands are on everything.
Here's something I've learned over the last few weeks about how organizations see themselves. They do not see themselves the way we can see them and criticize. They think everybody wants to be associated with them, including the Jets do. Everyone has this lack of self-awareness because they know there's only 32 of these. They know guys are willing to do whatever it takes. Look at Liam Cohen's situation. And by the way, I don't even know where I fall in terms of whether or not I think the way he handled his business was professional or not. This is a cutthroat industry, and you only get a few opportunities. Guys, Bobby Slowick was getting head coach opening opportunities, and he was fired from the Houston Texans last week. Lou Anarumo was the sweetheart of the league after the Bengals went to the Super Bowl, and now he's the Colts defensive coordinator, barely. And I say barely because he had a couple options, but I just think that owners know how hard it is for these coaches to get these jobs, that they simply look at it that way of, you're not good. Mike McCarthy, you're not walking. I'm going to offer you a situation, a deal that's maybe not great, but you have no other options. And I think Mike McCarthy looked at the situation and was like, nah, I don't want to deal with this anymore. I don't want, it's not worth it to me at this point. And so now, he's up for the New Orleans Saints head coaching job. He obviously had some flirting there with the Chicago Bears. So there's a market for Mike McCarthy. And I think Jerry Jones always will believe that there's a market for the Dallas Cowboys.
The Philadelphia Eagles are in the Super Bowl, and we want answers to just one question. How obnoxious has your husband been since?
He's been great, actually. It hasn't been too much. We have a little issue just in our marriage where Kevin can't ever just do anything in silence. He always has a podcast playing.
Right.
And so I definitely have heard way more Philadelphia podcasts. So he's the type, like, after they win, he wants to listen to more and more. It's not like when they lose, he doesn't want to watch anything, doesn't want to listen to anything. The more they win,
does he listen to yours? Does he listen to yours?
Yes, he does. He does. So he gets up around 4. So he usually listens. We drop our show on Tuesday morning and Friday morning. So he listens to that first, but then he'll rip through Russillo's, he'll rip through Birds with Friends, Shio Kapata. I don't even know what they're called. I just know that it's all Eagles talk. But yeah, no, he's been good.
But what is his appraisal of your podcast? Because it's very popular, and if he's comparing information, he's not just running around. He's trying to get more informed, right? It's not just celebrating the win. He also wants every dollop of information that he can get. So how does he rank you among the things that he's listening to?
I've asked him that question, actually, because I look at podcasting as it's an honor that people take time, knowing how busy everybody is, and to put that in the schedule. And he has no reason to I don't make him listen to it. In fact, 90% of the stuff I say on Scoop City every day, I tell him anyways over dinner or, just in casual conversation when we're talking about, stuff I'm reporting. So it's not like it's new intel. I don't know. He must like it. He listens to it. I think there's moments where he wants me to go harder because he knows how much I know about stuff, and I have to hold back because you guys understand the relationships in journalism and trying to protect the people that are giving me this information. So that's really the only stuff he picks on me for. He does get a little sensitive when I criticize some of Jalen's passing game. Like he thinks I go a little too hard. But this last show, I apologized to Nick Sirianni. I looked dead into the camera, picked the mic up right to my mouth, and I said, Nick Sirianni, I thought you stunk as a coach at the start of the season. You were stinky. I thought you were getting fired. I thought you lacked emotional intelligence. I thought he lacked horrible game management. He kind of just seemed like a kid that had the head coaching job, and Howie Roseman was smart enough to give him a bunch of adults around him like Vic Fangio and Kellen Moore. But somehow Nick Sirianni has figured out to stay out of the way. So I owe him a really big apology.
But you also told us before anyone else was saying it, when they started the season slow, you told us that you knew them to be one of the good teams playing. I want to ask you this question before the Super Bowl. I don't know how you feel about this. I believe the Eagles are so loaded and at offensive line that in terms of where you'd rank Jalen Hurts on the offense, good at his job, where does he rank number 1 to number 11 on that offense, just good at his job? Jalen Hurts is 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5? Like where, because of what Lane Johnson is, for example. Lane Johnson is better at that job than anyone is at that job.
He's probably number 1. Yes.
Right.
Yeah, Lane's number 1 at his job, for sure. Saquon Barkley is number 1. A.J. Brown is number 1. I'd say Jalen's 3. I think the version of Jalen we just saw, that to me, if he can just continue to do that. And we saw him do this on the big stage the last time they went to the Super Bowl. If you guys remember, he was fantastic the last time they went. I had some concerns, though, about his ability to really find those receivers. We saw it. A.J. Brown's reading a book on the sideline because of how frustrated he was in the passing game. So I just think the fact that he was let loose a little bit, and I think Nick Sirianni or Kellen Moore was able to come up with a game plan to sort of take that pressure off Jalen and let them just let loose a little, which is really my bigger concern for them playing the Chiefs. Because I think if any team plays loose in these moments, in the bigger moments, it's the Kansas City Chiefs. I feel like they lean into it. So that's really my concern headed into the Super Bowl for the Philadelphia Eagles.
Diana, thank you for being on with us. We will punctuate this segment by being unfair to the Jets and Aaron Glenn.
Put your seatbelts on and get ready for the ride. Listen, there are going to be some challenges, but with challenges becomes opportunity, gets opportunity. But here's what I do know. We're the freaking New York Jets. Shit.
Evan McPherson? The GOAT? He's a kicker. I mean, Tom Brady's bed's still warm. Tom Brady just left.
You're the greatest of all time. You're the greatest of all time. He's beautiful in every way. It's out of control.
He throws the ball most accurately and won 7 rings.
So good at quarterbacking, he's meant to outdecade teams.
A 6-round draft pick with a chip on his shoulder and a dimple on his chin.
You're the greatest of all time. You're the greatest of all time. He broke so many records and reached unattainable goals.
I said he was done 10 years ago when he shoved it down my throat.
He played the Jets twice a year and always ripped out their souls.
And just like that, he left us all wanting more. He's a certified GOAT.
You're the greatest of all time. You're the greatest of all time. You're the greatest of all.
The greatest of all time.
You're the greatest of
The greatest of all time.
Huzzah! After an incredible season, the big game is finally here.
Ugh, have fun. I don't even care who's in the big game, unless it's my Steelers.
Come on, Jess. A game they call Super and a town they call Tinsel await. Which oversized behemoths will control the trenches? Which variety of barley wheat lager will woo the consumer? Which 90s rapper will solicit the most yearning nostalgia? There's oh so much to decide.
A game so big, one can only dream of the brightest light shining on your team.
to cheer on, I don't get the show. Oh, tell me, you got the reasons. You got the reasons. Take me there. Take me there. Just take me there. The Super Bowl, 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 the Super Bowl.
I hope you're starting to see the light. Regardless of who's in it, it's a spectacle.
I think I'm starting to come around. Like, for instance,
Everybody wagering on a team. Chris Collinsworth sliding into your screen. I was too caught up in being a fan instead of just shotgunning beers and betting the Rams. Oh, tell me, you got more reasons. You got more reasons. Take me there. Take me there. Just take me there. The Super Bowl, 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 the Super Bowl.
Anything you want, everything you need, you can get it all. Pat McAfee, writings on the wall. What's it gonna be? You'll see Marshall Falk and Mariucci. Anything you want, everything you need, you can get it all from Dominique. Writings on the wall. What's it gonna be? You can get it all. Kyle Brandt's Hemmings.
Going out west for the Super Bowl.
Going out west for the Super Bowl.
My team's not there, but I'm gonna show.
My team's also not there, but I'm gonna show.
Everybody knows it's bound to be.
Everybody knows it's bound to be
The greatest night for you and me. Come on now. Take me there. Take me there. Just take me there.
The Super Bowl, 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 the Super Bowl.
I'll spend all night out in Venice and make castles in the sand. Santa Monica's calling, but I'm here to cover the Rams. I'll stay in and avoid chateaus. If I booze, then I'm on Skid Row. Just one drink to begin, not like that's a big sin. Just one beer, then we're gonna go to the Super Bowl.
Now, Mike, you know we're here to cover the big game. It's a time to be professional and avoid all the temptations the City of Angels may have to offer. Ain't that right, Jess and Kate?
That's right. We're just here to ask quirky questions to grown men wearing their full uniforms without pads in a convention hall.
Oh my God, is that George Clooney?
It is!
Baby, one scotch at the Roxy.
Come on now!
One shot at whiskey a go-go.
There we go! Now we're drinking to unemployed temptations, but a job to do. Professionals with a drink or two. Just a thimble of gin, and then I'll be locked in. After gin, then we're gonna go to the Super Bowl. To the Super Bowl. Super Bowl.
I mean, we have been locked up for a while.
yeah, there's no rule against covering the big game and enjoying La La Land.
Wait a minute, it's the Walk of Fame. So much to see instead of the big game. And the traffic is bad on La Brea. So come on, join me in popping tequila.
I'm just here to drink and
Shotgun a beer or what? I don't feel so good. I am genuinely fucked up right now.
This episode of the Dan Le Batard Show with Stugotz is presented by Venmo.
We really appreciate our sponsors around here, especially over the last 4 years, because they have, in the podcast industry, a pretty crappy space. So many people involved, so many people not knowing how to make a business of it. Our sponsors have made us a hugely vibrant thing in the industry. So I will thank Venmo for its support, and I will ask again, Cody and Stugotz, in a way meant to shame them, if they have Venmo on their phone and if they're ready to pay fines, because Venmo, a sponsor that supports us,
Right.
has been added to this segment and the return of the fine bucket, because you guys are to respect the sponsors, because the sponsors respect us by supporting us with an audience that appreciates the amount of content we make every day. So I know I'm not Iron Fist guy. I can't get anyone to wear a costume, wear a grid of death punishment. I'm going to cancel grid of death, and you guys are going to be happy, and we're not going to be able to have the sponsor because we're just going to get rewarded for people not doing things.
I'm all caught up. I mean,
Yeah, me too.
yeah.
I think so, too.
So the general rebellion around here, it needs to stop in the face of sponsors that are more supportive than any we have ever had. And you still don't have your Venmo?
No, I do. Yeah, it's installed in my phone.
You know how to do it?
Of course. I got them set up. Easy. No, Greg knows
Good
how
to
to
go.
do it.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
easy.
No, it's all taken care of. Don't worry about me.
You owe money from previous fines you have not paid, and it is still owed.
But the thing is that those aren't legally retroactive.
Yeah, I think it only starts once you've downloaded Venmo.
That is fair,
Yeah.
right?
It all starts when you install Venmo in your machine.
Yeah, in your machine.
Right.
You're getting to it, huh?
It's done.
It's done. Moving forward, they all count.
You know, it was a loose end that I tied up.
Yeah, coming out
It's all
day,
taken
you know what I
care
mean?
Exactly. It's a gacky, I mean.
Are you doubting whether or not we paid our Venmo fines? I paid one yesterday, $2. I labeled it London Fletcher. I mean,
you did. You gave it.
Because Venmo makes it easy. You can label every transaction.
Yeah, right there, right. $2. Yeah.
So I want to offer by way of apology. It's one of the dangers of doing this live.
I'll take it.
We had a good joke set up at the end of the last segment. It was right there. All it required was a clean edit.
Yeah.
And we stumbled and fell down on our face. I want to say we will do better, but we will not.
Huh.
It could have been a good joke, though.
Right.
It was right there for us.
We should strive for better, though.
The Jets make it very easy, Stugotz. These losers giving press conferences make it very easy. Look, I believe this show is now officially jaded enough that no matter how much coaching carousel talk you want to do, we're all going to find it funny. Wait, people want Mike McCarthy? The guy who won once with what was then Josh Allen?
I'm telling you, that's a weird one, Mike McCarthy. I have not noticed the difference between the media perception and the perception in the league. He's not thought of as this bumbling joke that we think of him as the media.
The players love him.
What I mean.
Yes.
Usually, I feel like the league and the media are generally on the same page with coaches. There's a disconnect with Mike McCarthy, and I'm not sure what it is.
What's left with him? Like New Orleans, right?
Well, they said Chicago, too. They said somehow Chicago, which I imagine
Well,
Packers
that
fans
job's
would
gone.
welcome. I know.
So it's just New Orleans, right? That could be the only place.
For now.
He doesn't look like someone that would go to Mardi Gras, but looks like everyone that's at Mardi Gras once you get there.
Nah, he looks like Key West.
Good point.
Dan, which coaching hires do you like? I feel like no matter who gets hired, you make fun of. Like Dan Campbell, we made fun of. Liam Cohen, we're making fun of. Aaron Glenn, who I feel like there's not a huge difference between buckle up and fasten your seatbelt. If you ask me, I guess there's maybe some nuance I'm missing there. Who do you like?
Okay, so I will answer that question in a second. But Mike McCarthy, just going back here at Le Batard Show, put it on the poll, please, Juju. Does he look more like Mardi Gras or Key West? Because I got Mardi Gras. And these are two very different looks.
But he doesn't okay. Unless you've been to Mardi Gras, you don't understand. Because he doesn't look like Mardi Gras from what you think Mardi Gras is. But once you get to Mardi Gras, it's all Mike McCarthy.
Yes, that is correct.
It's, oh, yeah.
Billy's been to Mardi Gras.
Yeah, college.
Right. You think it's a bunch of young people having a blast, and when you get there, you realize it's all Mike
It's
McCarthy.
a million Mike
Yes.
McCarthys. They've all got hurricanes in their hands.
Yeah. He's built like a keg.
A pink, fleshy keg.
Right.
And I think Mardi Gras runs away with this because he's got beads around his neck and he is careening from pub to pub.
Everything you guys are describing is also Key West.
That's correct.
These might be the same places.
That is you
But
are
a different look.
But I don't think there's any like false
right.
pretenses when you go to Key West. Like Mardi Gras, you're tricked into going thinking it's something else. Listen, if you're a teenage boy growing up, you say, "Oh my God, Mardi Gras, the promised land. I know what goes on there. Doesn't go on there. Does not go on there. Doesn't happen at Mardi Gras."
I disagree. I disagree because I was there with Greg Cody once, and he woke up in a hotel room and he had mashed potatoes in his hair after his friend Tom Jordan had dragged him out of a dungeon where he'd had rip-roaring fun that he can't remember.
But that's the thing is, as a teenager, I didn't grow up thinking I'd run into Greg Cody and Tom Jordan with mashed potatoes in their hair.
There you
Tom,
go.
Tom Jordan looks exactly like Mike McCarthy.
TJ.
That's right.
Just a thick human being. But can we talk for a second? Because Jessica's criticism is fair because I yawn through all of the coaching hires. Yes, I assume that Ben Johnson will be very good as a coach because the game has been overrun by the McDanielses and the McVays. And so if you tell me that that's what he is, okay. And if you tell me that somebody else has hired a 28-year-old offensive coordinator now because that's how we're doing it, I'm like, yeah, we're probably making them younger than we ever have, and they're a lot different than Mike McCarthy. But my whole thing about coaching hires over the last 20 years is we've seen enough of them in this town with the Dolphins and Hurricanes where guys win the press conference. Crushed the press conference. Al Golden crushed the press conference and has spent the rest of his life trying to get back, and now he's a defensive coordinator because largely these guys come in, leadership is difficult, and I don't happen to believe that many of them can bring just some sort of culture of I can do this better than the other guy can, and now we're where the nerds are on, no, this is all computers now, and taking advantage of tight windows, and it's going to be 30-year-olds throwing to Puka Nacua in space. You know what I mean? That's what the fight's going to be, not Mike McCarthy, not Saquon Barkley running the ball all over the place.
I'm just saying the Jets are a dumpster fire, and everything they do is probably wrong. But we're being very preemptively mean about a coach who was a great player, had a good track record as a coordinator, and now is being promoted to a head coach who Stugotz already is he wants to retire. He's only 52. He's not like some ancient old man. He might be a good coach. I don't know.
The best proof that these press conferences mean nothing, Nick Sirianni famously had a terrible introduction.
Oh, my God. It was so bad.
We mocked him for
oh, my
weeks.
God.
Yes.
And look at him now.
We didn't stop mocking him until literally weeks ago, though.
But it's a crapshoot, right? Like we yawned at Dan Quinn. We yawned when Kevin O'Connell was hired as the Vikings head coach. He's now one of the best head coaches in the NFL. I mean, it's all a crapshoot. We have no idea if any of these guys are going to be good, including Ben Johnson.
Right. I mean, Dan Campbell, who turned out to be pretty good, was an interim coach with the Dolphins. They didn't even hire him.
That was an epic press conference, though. Eat your kneecaps.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. No, that's classic.
But all of this stuff is interesting to me, right? We love leadership so much. And I believe most people listening to this do believe that Pete Carroll has a thing.
Well, he does.
That he can bring to the Raiders. And in his case, it might just be infectious energy and something that feels a little more positive than whatever the bleak darkness is of losing or winning no playoff games for 22 years in that sport. So maybe Tom Brady and Pete Carroll can concoct something that resembles leadership. But so many of these people, like Urban Meyer, come in with a plan and the assumption that they can do something that will impact an environment, and then there are professional problems everywhere. And you need Mike McCarthy to be your trusty veteran janitor because he's been there before, and he could probably
clean it up.
He could probably put a staff together that won't be filled with idiots and can work with everyone from Jerry Jones to the public that funds that team in Green Bay and only wins one championship with Aaron Rodgers.
Ben Johnson also closer in age to Aaron Glenn than Aaron Glenn is to Pete Carroll.
Wow. Huh. I like the idea of McCarthy showing up to his next job with a mop.
Yeah, he should.
I mean, you guys do think it's funny, right? That at the top of the food chain in leadership, in the most valuable business that there is in American sports, that McCarthy would turn down Jerry Jones? What did you see from the Cowboys this year that made you think they belonged in the game we just saw with two of their division rivals that are better and younger? Like, what proof did you not see that they are galaxies away?
I mean, they had 3 12-win seasons before this season.
And on McCarthy's watch, he fails, and Jerry Jones wasn't going to let him go when the American public had fired him before Thanksgiving.
Mm-hmm.
They were losing home games by 20 points in the most expensive stadium in America.
I think it's ridiculous for you guys to think that Jerry Jones doesn't have a plan here. This is a brilliant guy, a very smart business guy. And yes, he wants and probably has too much control over the football team that he owns. But Jerry Jones, I think, probably has a plan because this hire is so outlandish and so out of left field. This is not Mike McCarthy. This is not, Bill Parcells. This is a guy who has no head coaching experience, and it leads me to believe he's a bridge. He's a bridge that leads to either Deion Sanders or Bill Belichick, who told him, hey, I need to at least coach 1 year at Carolina. And in Deion's case, he said, hey, Jerry, listen, hire Schottenheimer. I'll be ready in a year. I can't leave Colorado the second my son leaves. Bad luck.
North Carolina. Oh, Deion. You've still got Deion in the game.
I have Deion and Belichick. I think Schottenheimer is a bridge coach, and I think he's okay with being a bridge coach.
Good point.
Yeah.
As a conspiracy theory, you know what? Fine. I'll take it.
Thank you.
Hate it. I hate it so much. But why not?
I think you're
right.
right.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I also think this has to have been a mutual parting. I can't believe that Jerry Jones is going, no, Mike, please stay.
Well, they seem to have been surprised. And Diana, I do trust her reporting. Like, Diana's not being flippant about these things. She proves it all the time that her information's good. Billy, why are you making
I should
faces
ask her
at
about
that?
Spain.
Yeah, that's right.
You should have. Reach out to her.
knows.
She probably knows. She could probably just find out for you.
Why
You
do
could
they
ask
keep it
Sarah
secret?
Spain as well.
Ooh, that's a good idea, Greg.
Mm-hmm.
Are you just going to do the Tony Kornheiser thing the
I
rest
hope
of
so.
your life, where it's
I
just
hope so.
a Tourette's, where any word that's a name will allow? You're going to do that?
Yeah,
she
I
would
promise.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Thank you. I want to notice it from now on. Add it to your collection of wonderful idiosyncrasies.
Right. Thank you.
It is the laziest way. That's the laziest way to age comedically.
No, I don't think so. It's my exercise, mental gymnastics.
Somebody says Spain, and you just say Sarah Spain.
Yeah, you have to.
If there was a game in Rome, you would ask
Jim.
Jim,
Right,
of
yes,
course.
right,
You have to. Why deny the obvious?
Have to.
Was this more awkward than when L. Duncan called Chris Greg?
Let's relive it. This was awkward with Diana right here.
Say hi to Riley Leonard for me, Diana.
Oh.
All her thoughts on Riley Leonard.
Say hi to Riley Leonard for me, Diana.
Oh.
It's a magical chemistry you two have.
There's only 6 quarterbacks
Did
there.
you
I don't
shorten
know.
that? Because it felt a lot longer in
I
real
figured
time.
she was going to see him. Tell him hi. I missed Say hi to Riley Leonard for me, Diana.
Yeah, it's important that be in the middle of our interview.
There was
Or if
an
our-
edit
She
there,
asked
though.
if she'd
Millie's
heard of
right.
the Senior Bowl, and there was dead silence because I don't know if you guys have heard of the Senior Bowl. I would have said, actually, the Senior Bowl was Sunday when Poppy and Greg were both here doing the watch-along, but then I felt like that was a cheap shot at Greg. Sorry, Greg.
That's okay.
Would have been a good joke.
I got broad shoulders.
Oh.
That sounds like a crow cawing. That sound that Diana made.
Does it?
Oh.
We failed in doing too much football with her instead of talking about some of the things going on in her life, because that always has some funny spillage around it. But when we talk about these ridiculous things, when Stugotz says, and this one's super interesting to me and also a bit baffling, but even Dominique Foxworth, who is, really smart, he went to a table with Jerry Jones, sat down to negotiate with him, and when sitting at that table, presumed for a good amount of time, oh, this person knows what they're doing and got to this position because they're brilliant. And then negotiations started, and he was like, oh, no, he's not. No, he's not. Why do we do this thing where if you have billions of dollars because you knew how to do something with oil, you are then a brilliant businessman?
in fairness to Jerry Jones, when Dominique sits down at a table, he's usually the smartest guy sitting down at the table.
I know, but Dominique sat at that table presuming that wealth bought him some intellect or leadership or palpable ability to make things that comes with a genius that other people don't have. They're just people. They're people with money, sometimes, often inherited money. Often money not earned or money earned illicitly.
I mean, I'm rich.
But this person, Rich, you are not.
Oh, no, I'm not. No.
Like, no one would assume of you, he's more brilliant than anyone.
But even Stugotz does have a good
Thank
amount
you.
of money, so
Yeah.
you do the math of, wow.
Stugotz is someone else changes my tires for me, Rich.
Frankie Tires. Yeah.
Well, can you guys get that video
Frankie
up now?
Tires.
Can you guys get that video up now? Because Stugotz was caught in the parking lot. Frankie Tires, he works security for us. He is someone who keeps the premises safe. And yesterday we caught Stugotz in the wild in the parking garage trying to fix his tire, and he couldn't. It was a bit of an exercise. Frankie Tires also struggled with it, correct?
He did. The problem for Frankie Tires is probably the greatest changer of tires in the history of the world, okay?
Oh, come on.
No, Dan, I am serious. No one is better or more efficient at changing a tire than Frankie Tires. It's why I call him Frankie Tires. What happened yesterday to Frankie was I was trying to help because I felt so bad asking Frankie to do this. I was trying to help. And at one
You were the
point,
light guy? I can see in this video here,
Yes.
you have your phone out with the light on.
Yeah, and at one point, Frankie said, hey, do me a favor. Get the bleep out of my way. You're making it worse. This is taking longer because you're trying to help. So I got out of his way. And, was I ready to go 14 seconds later. It's amazing. I mean,
I see you have your whole set of golf clubs set up behind the car.
Always got to have them in the car, Bill.
Well, the thing is that's another one of your loaners, is it not? So like,
No, that's my actual car. I had that
Oh,
car
you got it
back for a single day, and I got a flat tire. Now, here's the thing. I parked in the parking lot. All 4 tires were fine. They were fine. There's only one person who parks next to me, and that is Dan. And I'm wondering if Dan somehow bumped into me, maybe slashed my tire. I don't know, because the tire was fine when I walked in and flat when I walked in.
The old accidental slashing of tires.
No, it could happen. I did see Dan with an ice pick yesterday.
On purpose? Like what?
Oh, not on purpose.
Well, so
maybe.
what do you have me doing? You have me scraping your car?
Side swipe, something. You did something.
Just of the tire?
Yeah, maybe you threw a nail out. I don't know.
Check the security cameras.
Right.
Yeah.
I think Dan has ordered the security cameras whitewashed for all of yesterday. I wonder why. Ice pick over here.
That's what they used to call him.
Frankie Tires and Ice Pick.
Yeah.
Danny Ice Picks.
Yes.
Is that true? Did you slash his tires, Dan?
Did you? I thought about it.
He didn't deny it.
How would I slash a tire?
that's
What
what we're
weapon do you have me having in my car to slash a tire?
You're Danny Tires. I mean,
What do you
No,
have?
he's not. He's Danny Ice Picks. Keep up.
So an ice pick? An ice
Yeah.
pick? You have okay.
It is cold out there.
Your cigar cutter.
I don't think.
Ooh, yeah. Could you put out your cigar butt in the tire and melt it?
Yeah, he could
No,
burn a
I
hole
think
in the
I think
tire.
you guys underestimate. First of all, Stugotz has a good car, and his loaners are good, and his tires are good. There are
Not great.
There are no cheap tires on what it is that Stugotz is driving around. And no, put it on the poll, Juju. Can you flatten a tire with a cigar?
I think you can.
Maybe you had Elise do it.
You think I can flatten a car tire with a cigar?
It sounds like you've tried it before.
Yeah. Have you tried it
The
before?
visual of Elise out there doing it for you is funny.
Wouldn't
That's
you
only
guys?
on Wednesdays.
Wouldn't you guys imagine that the weapon to take out a tire, to flatten a tire that isn't just, letting the air out of the tire?
Rambo's machete. Yeah.
No, but what is the weapon that you imagine I would have to have in my car to do that? I think this is harder than you guys believe it is. If you're accusing me of shivving Stugotz's tire in an act of rage, or whatever the act is, I don't know what the
so
act
you
is. Just to make his life even more difficult
You
than it
just
already is.
Let the air out then? What was the damage to the tires? Did you get it fixed?
I mean, yeah, I brought it in. I have a loaner. I'll pick up the
Again? For a spare tire, you have a loaner?
Billy, I said I just picked up my car. It was being serviced, and I got a flat on the way down here. I mean, not on the way down here. Somehow, magically, I got a flat because of Dan while we were doing the show yesterday.
I just imagine you show up there, and they're like, all right, we'll be like an hour, and you're like, no, give me a loaner. I'll be back tomorrow.
I'm starting to think you did this to your own tire just to get a loaner again. Because, you've had your car for one day the past, 6 months.
Right. I missed the loaner.
Do you know why?
It was a nice loaner.
Why did it get flat? Did you see a nail in the
That's what I'm
tread or
asking.
something?
What was the damage?
Nothing.
Mysterious.
We couldn't find it. Yeah.
All right. We will conduct an investigation with Frankie Tires. We will report whatever it is that we find there. I also want to say, in keeping with thanking our sponsors, long-time sponsor, 1-800-Flowers.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, 1-800-Flowers
They're
is
back?
back, yes, in time for Valentine's Day, which means, yes, escalating threats are beginning today.
I love it.
To tell you what it is that I'm going to do to you. I've been talking to Ron McGill. About what kind of creatures I can have at my disposal. If you do not buy 1-800-Flowers, like the infestations I could unleash upon your home.
Right. You could slash someone's tires.
That's just starting, though, right? Like that's the early rounds of threatening, right? Like I think that, you know where this is going to escalate to?
More heat talk?
Yes.
No.
More politics.
No.
More politics. Yes.
Buy flowers.
That's what's going to
Please,
happen.
audience.
Yes. What is going to happen is it will escalate in I'm just doing a political show for 3 months.
Please, nobody wants this audience.
I know.
Please.
I know.
It's this Valentine's Day. 1-800-Flowers.com has you covered. Order early and score huge savings like double the roses for free. And now, act now. Visit 1-800-Flowers.com/Dan.
I'm just telling you that we're just getting started, and help us with the /Dan there, because we want to show 1-800-Flowers, and we want to show all our sponsors that when you listen to this show, you're uncommonly loyal. And also, I've got an assortment of threats that I'm going to unleash upon you and your family.
You love a good slash. I mean,
it's just getting started with the ice pick to the tires. I tried the cigar; it went out.
So buy the flowers, not for your wife, your significant other. Buy them for us. Okay?
No, you don't. Yes.
Well, just to avoid these conversations.
Yes. Buy them for us, but don't send them here. You don't have to.
No. We're good.
But support 1-800-Flowers because they're back as a sponsor, and we are grateful for the people who sponsor us. As I go back on Mike McCarthy, though, because what Chris Cody is saying is, I think, pretty interesting. Like, if we're most valuable franchise in sports, we overvalue these general people who are managers. And in that case, Mike McCarthy was bringing championship pedigree while being what we all think is an administrative assistant to Jerry Jones. And then embarrassing home losses, like by 20 points all the time. Just didn't play a meaningful game. Dak Prescott got hurt. Obviously, that's part of it. But Mike McCarthy doesn't want to work there anymore. When we do this stuff with the leaders, and we all saw in Dan Campbell when he was here, we all spent time laughing at that.
Yep.
Is the leader's job to bring the rah-rah and then just the coordinators who are outsmarting you? Because one of the interesting things that came from the reporting after Bills Chiefs is that they were talking in the reporting. They were talking to the Bills Center. And I want to read this to you because it's the difference between the Super Bowl and not. So Osiris Torrance, it's a great name.
It is.
Osiris for a center.
Oh, so
this
good.
He's talking about the blitz. He's talking about the last play on 4th and 5 for the Bills and what it is they were disguising. Mike Ryan called it satanic yesterday. He's like, they set it up, is what Torrance says. Quote, they set it up. It was like they were waiting to get in that situation all game to bring that one pressure.
Yeah.
That the whole game they were dropping out of that, and they were showing it and dropping out of it, and the Bills made the call. It's like the best strategists would bait you in on a fishing line to try and get you in, just like, I'm going to keep doing this and doing this and doing this. And when the game, it gets unpredictable and it becomes, they've won 17 straight by this much, more than any team in the history of the sport. Field goal here and there. Yes, they've got the best quarterback, but things like that where Josh Allen on 4th and 5, in that situation, you're hopeful if you're the Chiefs, but 4th and 5 for the Bills is a good situation for the Bills. Like, that their ability to get 5 yards there with Josh Allen in their offense, that's what was happening in that game where you couldn't make one mistake, and then at the very end, surprise.
Yeah. set up the entire game. That's attention to detail. I mean, it is, Dan.
Of course it is, but
Right.
but I would also say to you that when we analyze these coaching hires, they've all tried to get that kind of attention to detail. They all try to be prepared for all of the permutations, and then Eberflus is doing the game management at the end where you're like, what are they doing? Like, how can it be that incompetent when, of course, it's going to look like that sometimes with a rookie quarterback. It's the way it used to look all the time with the rookie quarterbacks. Jaden Daniels is going to spoil us now. We're going to end up in a place
doubt,
where,
yes.
where, there's no learning curve anymore. Like, it's not. Can you guys look for me how many interceptions Peyton Manning threw his first year?
20-something. I'll look it up, but it was 20-something, I believe.
Was
Maybe
it
30.
30?
Yeah.
Like, it's what it used to be, and we're making the hardest position in sports harder than it's ever been. We're making it for people we're asking to play younger than they have or quicker than they have, and then we entrust their futures to a Dan Campbell who the media can't decide whether he knows what he's doing or not until he's 14-3.
Right, but I think the important thing for the head coach as it relates to attention to detail is having great coordinators around him, guys who could potentially be head coaches or have been head coaches. Andy Reid has had that his entire time in Kansas City. He has Spags, and Spags could just focus on what he does best, and that's being a defensive coordinator. Dan Campbell had it in Detroit.
Stugotz,
It's gone. It's going to be interesting to see what it turns into now.
But you say that Andy Reid had it. He had Eric Bieniemy, and now Eric Bieniemy is going to have trouble finding a job. Like he was a hot coaching candidate because he was supposed to be whatever this thing is, and then no one hires him to be that thing, and then he flames out at UCLA very quickly after falling down the ladder. My larger point is most of the people talking about this don't know what they're talking about when it comes to was that a good defensive coordinator hire. Like, we saw Fangs down here. He was plenty good. Everybody knows he's good. That's why he gets paid higher than everybody else.
Right. Like, if your name is Fangs or Spags, you can feel pretty good about that hire.
Mhm.
I mean, you can.
A lot of it's the name.
Yeah.
You
Need
know.
a nickname, apparently.
Wink Martindale. Yeah.
Frankly, Mike McCarthy is a football head coach name.
You're right.
You know, the new Jacksonville
McCarthy,
coach.
yeah.
The new Jacksonville coach, not so much.
Not a name.
Yeah, not
I
a
can't
name.
get behind that name.
No.
Wait a minute.
Seriously.
Names?
Oh, names matter.
Names matter.
Names matter.
Liam Cohen, you can't get behind?
Sounds like a physicist.
Yeah, not as my football coach.
Dan Campbell, you can get behind.
Oh,
Of course,
yeah.
yeah, but we mocked it anyway.
Dan the man. That guy.
But Dan Campbell, if he looks different, doesn't hit his that's actually not a great name. We just think it is because of how he looks.
Yeah, he's a Bill Cowher. He's a young Bill Cowher in appearance.
Liam Cohen looks like Mardi Gras, right, Billy? He looks like the South Alabama student that goes down there for the weekend.
Yeah, an out-of-towner in town for a good time.
Mardi Gras. What is the best of the coaching names? Because I think there's a
Lombardi.
Wink Martindale is great.
Lombardi, I think there's a 3-syllable count here. McCarthy.
Ooh.
Like, I think what we're doing here, you guys are saying Dan Campbell. I think it's a 3-syllable count that what you need on the name.
I'm not certain. Chuck Knoll is a great coaching name.
Yeah.
It's pretty good, but I think it's great because it's 2 syllables.
Don Shula. Pretty good name.
The cobbler.
Yeah.
The cobbler.
Nick Saban?
Exactly.
Yeah,
all
not
3
really.
all 3 syllables.
Yeah.
McCarthy.
McCarthy's good.
And that's what I'm telling you. That's why he keeps.
What are the
keep
bad
hiring
names?
him.
What are the bad names and what are the good names?
Eberflus.
Yeah, I mean,
That's
it's
it.
the worst of all time.
Terrible. No matter what you do for a living, you don't want to be named Eberflus. Sorry.
Trustman.
Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. No matter what you do for a living, do you want to be named Eberflus?
I think I'd go to an ENT named Eberflus.
Yeah.
Put
Dr. Eberflus?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yes. Nose,
ENT,
ear,
though.
nose, and
Yeah.
throat.
Podiatrist, I don't know.
Right. ENT, yes.
Wait a minute.
Wanstead, on the other hand, great name.
Is it a great coaching name?
Lonnie?
Wannstedt? I think it is.
Pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it is.
Good, not great.
By the way, Eberflus also sounds like the name of a car, but only an oddball Volkswagen. A Volkswagen Eberflus.
Nice.
You know, because
Yeah,
they get
right.
golf. You know, they're the company that comes up with weird car names.
One that you
Right.
couldn't get here, though. It's only available like in Europe.
Yeah, yeah, an Eberflus. Mike McDaniel, good coach's name.
No.
Not a good coach's appearance.
What are you doing with the name?
No, Mike McDaniel is a solid head coach's name. You got to back it up though with the appearance.
No, Lovey Smith is a solid coach.
That's a good one.
Decent.
Lovey?
Lovey?
I love Lovey.
No.
Lovey Smith?
Lovey? No. It's decent.
Dan Quinn just does nothing for me.
Lovey Smith is a good high school football coach, like in Texas. Lovey Smith could go on to win like 10 out of 12 state championships, you know?
I don't want
Dr. McDaniel could touch my feet.
Right.
I don't want my head coach named Lovey. I'm
Really?
sorry.
He can?
Yeah.
How about Chuck Knox?
I don't know what you're doing to Eberflus as a podiatrist. Why won't you
No,
let
ENT,
Eberflus?
No,
why?
ENT.
You're keeping him above your waist?
Of
Like what?
course, it's just Eberflus.
Why is Eberflus not allowed near your feet? I don't
Well, he's not a
understand.
podiatrist. He's an ENT.
Dr. Bendova.
That's my proctologist.
That was always an old Johnny Carson line.
Yeah.
I never forgot it. Carson was so good.
Yeah.
What do you think he meant by that?
It was his proctologist, Dr. Bendova.
Really?
Yeah. Use your imagination.
The glory hole thing? Or?
No, he spelled it Bendova. He
Yeah.
was he was a foreigner.
Cliff Kingsbury. Good coach's name.
Yeah, I don't know about
Oh.
that.
Yeah.
Not Cliff with a K. You can't, that's.
But
that's
his last name
desecrating
starts
the
with a K.
language.
His last name starts with a K.
I know, but you don't need that.
Cliff's a good name, I think.
With a K?
Not with a K.
Not with a K.
Not with a K,
Not with a
yeah.
K. No, damn.
You question the Cliff with a K.
You
Classic.
really
Yeah,
do.
it's like Greg
Yeah.
with a double G
Yeah.
situation. Can't have it.
Some coaches with good names never work out. Nathaniel Hackett, good name.
No, I don't think so.
I mean, what are we doing?
That is
here,
a good
guys?
name.
Thank you, Dan.
Hackett? No, he's a hack.
No, no, you guys are doing this thing where
You
you
couldn't hack it.
Yeah.
He's right.
Yeah.
So let's just recap here.
Was he wrong about that?
Yeah, let's recap. Here.
I took a hack.
Well put.
After Dr. Bendova, you guys are just playing the hits. Like, look at the two of you.
He did take a hack.
It's just the lowest common denominator humor.
Hacking it.
Pat Shermer.
No, that's a
No.
terrible name. That's
Fritz
a terrible
Shermer.
name.
No, Shermer, that M in there, the M so close to the R, I don't trust any of it.
Abe Gibran.
What is that?
He was the 500-pound Bears coach.
What decade?
What year was
I don't know, 70s maybe?
Okay, Abe Gibran. Well, the 500-pound. How can you get me the weight
In that day?
Get
Wow.
me the weight, please, of Abe Gibran, a truly terrible football coach's name. I'm telling you, we could have spent a month here, and I wouldn't have landed there. I would have named all sorts of college coaches, pro coaches, coaches from all sports before I arrived at a 1970s Bears coach who was fat and named Abe.
I'm seeing 5'11", 243.
Oh, that can't be right.
No,
Well,
I,
that's a
He's
list.
like my size.
I have pictures of him, Billy. He's way bigger than
Yeah,
that.
he was a big man.
1950s, by the way.
1950s. Wow. Good for him.
Yeah, he played at Valparaiso in 1948.
Valpo.
I don't mean to disparage him. God rest his soul. Pretty good head coach. I don't know if he was or not.
Right.
He was known
42
for
and
eating.
11?
Was he in a plane crash?
42 and 11?
Wait, no, hold on. 11 and 30.
Oh, that's
And one tie.
Yeah.
It's 11:30.
tie.
If he was in a plane crash, we'd have to say he's a good coach.
No, a
No,
good man.
no,
A good man.
Good man.
Yeah.
No, I'm willing to extend it to good coach. I'm willing to do this for sports figures as part of your
So if
one-time
Adam
exemption.
Gase gets in a plane
Yes,
crash
good
and
coach.
survives
Yes,
the crash,
yes.
he's a good
Yes,
coach?
because it's so many years ago that nobody's going to care.
So he's a plane crash away?
It's Abe Gibson. It's Abe Gibson in the
Not
50s.
Gibson, it's
Gibran.
Gibran.
Yeah,
Gibran,
yeah,
excuse
fine.
me.
Yeah, Venmo
Sorry, it
fine.
is my-
Yeah.
If Abe Gibran is in a plane crash, you know why.
He died of a brain tumor.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Why, Greg?
Well, heavy. If I'm in a plane, there's no way I can say this without pissing some people off. But if I'm in a plane and you're
Please
a
don't.
four,
No,
you're-
no, please stop. I know where you're
Hold
going.
on, where's he
Come
going?
on, let's hear him out.
No, you know what? Hold on a second. Hold on. I've got an no. I'm with Chris Cody here. Hold on, everybody. Not surprised that Billy and Stugotz would push everybody. Hold on a second. This is a loving son taking care of his dad.
We all
here.
know where he's going with this. Come on, we get it.
Who are you going to piss off, Greg?
I have nothing against people who some would say are overweight.
Right.
That's a fine.
I know. I'm getting right on Zenmo.
Venmo.
Right. He'll pay his when you pay yours.
I'm paying it right now. I'm
Okay.
paying it right now.
You're
so let's
paying
see.
my fine for
let's
me?
See. No, I'm paying mine. So go ahead. Let's say you pay right now. I'm paying right now. Get yours right now.
My phone is turned off.
Here it
'cause you-
is.
Right.
Here
And
we
you
go
always-
again.
Well, no,
yell at
and
me
Here we go
when-
again.
And you're in mid-thought. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Right.
No, I don't want to make fun of anybody, but it's a fact that if a 500-pound man is walking down my aisle in a plane, followed by another couple of really heavy people, it worries me.
Only on
because-
Southwest.
That's a fact that it worries you.
Yeah, because you do have to even the weight out left and right
On a plane?
No,
They're his
it's
facts. I mean-
absolutely true.
I've never heard an announcement of like, we're going to have to move a few heavy people to the other side.
I've
of the,
heard it
like,
on
I've
boats.
never
I
heard
didn't know
that.
about planes.
They are balancing the plane the entire time.
Yes,
You
they
guys
are.
just don't know it.
Yes.
They are moving luggage left and right
That
down
is
there.
correct.
You guys.
100%.
Are they during the flight?
100%. Is that 100%?
No, it's absolutely true.
right.
Yeah.
If there's 40 people on the right side of a plane and 18 on the left, you better believe they're asking some people to move over.
Well, what happens if they don't?
Well, you got to do what you got to do.
Mm-hmm.
Put it on the poll, Jude.
Disobeying a flight attendant is a federal
something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Crime.
Good. I'm glad I waited for
A
you
federal,
to really close us out there strong.
crime may be a hard word.
Okay, at Le Batard Show, please, Juju. When there are 40 people on one side of the plane, are they going to allow 18 others to be on the other side?
No.
Put the.
Chris's
30 and
instincts
30.
were right. We should have quit while we were
I
ahead.
will allow. I've paid my fine. Get your phone. I'm not going to keep asking you guys, okay, on behalf of the sponsors to respect the sponsors.
London Fletcher.
The idea that happens on small planes is true.
Yes.
The smallest of planes is true that they have to be careful with what weighs what. It is not something that is true of larger
No,
planes.
it's happened on a flight I've been on before. They made us switch sides.
You.
Yeah.
Like, have you ever been on an empty
In
flight?
Barcelona, actually, Billy.
Right. If there's only like 40 people on the flight, they're all on the right side. They will insist that 20 go to the left side.
Yeah, it happened to me, and then they put caution tape along a bunch of the other side of the plane so people couldn't switch back over. Wow. Yeah, it was a scary flight. Yeah. There was a storm. Not because we
He
had to
can't
move.
be fined for that. You made him turn
That's
it on.
his phone.
You made him
His
do it.
phone.
You're the one who asked me to turn it on.
That is true.
That's more fines for you for your phone going off.
You asked me to turn it on
I know,
to
but
pay
you-
my
you
Venmo.
can't-
This is entrapment.
You can turn
Right.
it on
You baited him.
quietly.
I mean-
you can turn it on
He
quietly.
doesn't know
You
how.
can't.
I mean-
It's impossible.